washed out, weak, and run down. Doctors will tell you that these conditions are often caused by a deficiency of iron. The iron you need to keep you physically fit and mentally alert. Medical studies show that 2 out of 3 women and many, many men lack the daily iron your body requires in a form your body can easily use and put to work. Every dose gives you more than your daily minimum iron requirement.
We are awake, we are awake, we are not alone. We are striving for more.
So if you're not getting the iron your body needs, if you feel weak, run down, and are easily upset, start taking iron today.
It's Friday, my dudes.
It is Friday, my dudes. TGIF, everybody. Welcome to Have No Sphere, right here on the Iron Realm Media YouTube channel. My name is Josh Corey, and in true Iron Realm fashion, as we do love to build the suspense, the roller coaster that is Have No Sphere. The plan was to have Dom on this evening to discuss the benefits of using magnets on water and vortexing the water and feeding your garden and drinking it and bathing in it and all of that good stuff. We were supposed to have him on a few weeks ago, but I was too busy moving and couldn't find the time to do it all and had to cancel when he was supposed to be on. So build it up and canceled it. The last week he couldn't do it, but we were scheduled to do this week. And unfortunately, because of the holiday weekend and all, his schedule was thrown askew and unfortunately could not be with us again this evening. But silver lining, I think next week, the plan is Dom will be joining us to discuss his water and the things that he has seen and the benefits of using this water. So sorry to everybody that was super excited to hear that, because look, I am just as excited to hear this. There will be pictures, possibly videos. There's going to be lots of visuals for us to see the benefits, not just hear about it, but Zach has got these pictures. He's not showing anybody because he wants to get our reaction live. But it was next Friday. Next Friday is going to be Don. Zachary Zabala, also known as Good Times for All, here on the YouTubes. That's the story, right? Did I get that right?
Yep, that is correct. Yeah, I should have tried to get a hold of him earlier in the week. And he only picks up his phone when he's going to work. I sent him a message on Skype, but he doesn't, he downloaded Skype for us. He's never used any of that stuff before. So he doesn't check it at all or anything like that. I should have sent him a text or something. Yeah, it's kind of my fault that I thought he was going to be here tonight, and, things happen.
Things happen.
But it could just be all for the better. You never know. Maybe he will have more pictures for us. Maybe there'll be some, even bigger results that he can show us now.
Heck yeah. And who knows, these unplanned shows something always happens. Somehow they always turn out all right. We had a good time this morning, Zach and I, hanging out with one Mr. Walter Johnson, also known as Flat Earth Head, here on YouTube. Well, did you get a nap in at all today?
A little bit, not too much. I was too excited. It was crazy here last night. If you listen to this morning's show, you may know what happened. If you didn't, then you'll find out soon. Plus, the final piece of the puzzle arrived today. And while I didn't start my build, I definitely started the tear down of the old one. So I've got crap everywhere and got in it. And I knew I shouldn't, but I couldn't help it. I was just too excited when that final memory stick got here. And so, yeah, this is the weekend that it all begins. But yeah, that meant I was too excited to sleep. So I probably got a nap of about an hour maybe, but I'm ready. I'm excited. Although, damn it, I didn't know Dom wasn't here, and that's frustrating because I definitely was excited. I even went and grabbed the purple energy plate that we talked about.
Yeah.
This morning. Is it purple? There we go. The purple plate we talked about this morning as far as water structural changes that can be done. And that's one way I've done it in the past. But again, we'll hold on to that teaser till we get Dom in here. But there's other folks here, some of which were not here as often as I would like. So let's talk to them more than me. I'm here all the time flapping my freaking gums.
Let's say hello to one Mr. John Savage, who,
Savage!
There we go. That's all I was buying time for, was so I could click that. How the hell has your week been, sir?
Yeah, not too bad. Hi, Josh. Hi, Walt. Hello, the others. Pretty dull week again. A little bit more energy this week, that will have to be said. And I think I fixed my leak, but I don't know. I need a proper British rain to test that out. But it involved basically filling the whole side of the vehicle with sealant. So we'll see how that goes. And I've just bought myself another welder, even though I now have two. Even though I've never welded in my life, for some reason, something's telling me to buy a welder. So I've just bought one that can do MIG, ARC, TIG, you name it, the whole lot. And I got it for about half price, 200 quid, delivered. Job done.
That's crazy. That's way less than half price. I mean,
these things are like, you can't buy a TIG welder for, less than about 250 quid maybe.
yeah, Adam McKenzie's, he's got one that does all that stuff, and he paid like over $2,000 for it.
Well, there are welders and there are welders, and this is a budget welder. But from the videos I've seen,
No, but I mean, he got his for a steal. Like the ones he wanted were like $7,000. This was like the Harbor Freight special. It wasn't
Right.
a Chicago, but it wasn't
a Lincoln
top
or
of
a
the
Miller.
line
Or,
one. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, this is straight out of China. It's called a Hitbox, but it's got good reviews, and I'm looking forward to it. It's
Does it
a
have
tiny
a
little
240 outlet?
Apparently, that's what I've just spent like an hour trying to work out whether I've just bought something that needs a 16 amp bloody fuse or not, which means
Well, his has both. Yeah, he can use the one for just like doing regular stuff, and then he can turn it up for like half-inch steel.
well, this goes up to 200 amps, but it says it's 220 volt, but it doesn't tell you if it runs on a normal UK 13 amp or a 16 amp. But either way, it's probably not hugely important to the show at hand, but that's what my week has been. I'm trying to appease the material gods and get myself something for Christmas, so I thought I might as well get something that could be useful. So I better start thinking of things to weld, I suppose.
Well, it's always a good skill to have, especially should some sort of large collapse come and society.
It's the most sought after skill in the UK at the moment, apparently. And that surprises me, but doesn't, sort of. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
literally,
there's
people
always
sell their
jobs for welders
cars
here.
because it needs welding, and welding just costs a fortune over here. So yeah, if I can get
We
the
got
hang
like
of
a
it,
traveling welder over here. Usually pay like 120, 150 bucks just for them to come and show up.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. So next on the list is a generator, and then a van, I suppose. And then I've got ready-made jobs for the boys. So yeah, love it. Anyway, moving on. There's others.
Let's say hello to how about the Adam Meakin, celebrity by all rights, having
Evening.
Adam. You were on Globebusters this past Sunday, which was just an absolutely amazing show. I thought you did an awesome job. I thought that was just so much information to be gleaned from that one show. I think that's going to be one of those with a real high view count.
It was fun to be on. Good debate as well. It was good debate, and yeah, lots of info in there, I think, from everyone. So yeah, pleasure. Thanks, Bob, for inviting us. You should do, though. We invite him over enough, don't we, to be fair? So
You've been on there loads of times, Adam.
yeah, but that was, I think the last time was when I got beat up in Rome, wasn't it? So that it wasn't for anything.
That was for the
Meritorious,
cause.
was it?
Small price to pay.
Yeah. But yeah, I've had a busy week, to be fair. I was saying earlier, weren't we? A bit of bonus of Corona, everything's really quiet. So I've been dabbling on the debates this week, as well as Globebusters, but on Nathan's debates. And it was a nice premiere tonight on Nathan's show. I had a rumble with the rumpus in the week. It's funny. But that's worth a giggle as you listen to the rumpus get himself tied up. He is a clown. It has come to that, guys. You used to talk with him to see if you. I was saying with Globebusters, we were chatting and we were kind of going somewhere, we're exploring, sharing ideas, but seriously, the difference between that and the chat with Rumpus, which was. It's buffoonery. You're dealing with people just living in a fantasy land, just making shit up, basically.
Just his
and
voice just makes it's like nails down a chalkboard. It's like filing metal. Yeah, no, I couldn't do it.
But it's getting to the point of fun now, where you know where they're going, so you can slowly lead them there, and watch them contradict themselves. So, but yeah, it's a good one with the Rumpus. So maybe watch that as well. Less informative, but funnier.
Yeah, my biggest complaint for Sunday's show was that there was not enough Lucas on there. But I don't think that I probably would have been able to get a word in edgewise either, so I can't really point the finger at Lucas too much because, I mean, how do you add to what's being said? How do you get in there and what do you need to say? I mean, I can appreciate maybe.
I think now the conversation from Sunday's been had. It's probably better for Lucas to go on again and really have, not with everybody else, do you know what I mean? But just go into his stuff. I think that would be better to hear for me, because it wasn't really the format to reveal what he's talking about and another slightly different perspective. Do you know what I mean? So I think, yeah, shout out to Bob. Another full show for Lucas with those ideas, because that's exactly what we're talking about. We're talking, I was saying about causation of orientation, and it's looking at what are these other things. We know it's not mass attracting mass. We know it's not the bending of space time. But are there other things at play, other things we can look at and tweak that elicit effects? Like when I was talking about Zach's balls, for example, are the things we can do that affect these things that we think are classified at the moment as constants? Are they? Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, it'd be good to hear his viewpoint, I think, or showcase individually, do you know what I mean, rather than within a debate.
Lucas just put out another video today. I haven't been able to watch it yet. I just been feeling under the weather after the joyous times we enjoyed yesterday.
Oh yeah, let's say
we were singing rap, and we went way back. It was fun.
You got drunk?
Yeah, I had a few glasses of wine.
You haven't been introduced yet, have you, Zach?
Yeah, I have. I think there's one more that hasn't been introduced yet, though.
Yep, that's right. We're short one. The one I usually start with, because only
Say the best for last.
Gentlemen would put ladies first, but that shows what kind of dick I am. Mrs. Kimmy Nodell, thanks for joining us again this evening. Kimmy, how was your week, man? How are you feeling?
Oh, I am starting to come to a little bit. I was in the wine party with Zach last night singing. It was a fabulous Thanksgiving. Thank you all that came to my house and shared the holiday with me and sang in my sunroom. I'm hoping maybe later on in the show, I know we have some clips of the guys singing in the sunroom.
Well, we don't have to do any of that.
Yeah, we don't have to do any of that, but we got some really, if y'all want to see Zach singing it, or people singing in the sunroom, we've got some clips from a little bit of drunken fun, and it was a good day. It was a good day.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah. Been a good week. It was good to have Adam on Globebusters, and for me it was especially fun to watch like the different families merge and get together. You're right, it almost brings like a little tear, whatever. It's fun when you have those smooth spots and that where it goes and it's happy, you appreciate and you enjoy. So I really enjoyed this Sunday. I enjoyed having Adam on there and hoping again. As far as everybody and Lucas talking, that's funny because I have this special inside ear from Globebusters himself, Bob. Okay, people, I sleep with the host. So I get to hear it. But one of our things is that everybody was so chatty, and Lucas did not get enough airtime, and so he did talk about how nice it would be. Lucas has got so many different insights and ideas and new ideas to present, that why his persona is so welcome on a panel, and anything he might add with such a rambunctious panel, and him being a little bit more quiet and dignified, it probably wasn't the easiest venue for him to pipe in and get so much of him. And again, there was so much going on, but Bob was definitely saying we need to have Lucas on where we can focus on like what he does and he presents. Now I know with Lucas, on the other hand, we're going to be talking, I don't know if he's in the chat, I'm not watching, but some of it is, and he's a bit like I am, it's a bit nerve-wracking to be on Globebusters. There's just something about it that it makes you nervous. We're not used to being on air. I mean, that's part of the reason I do Iron Realm is to get a little bit comfortable talking into a microphone and instead of to a person. It's a different skill set.
Mm-hmm.
Tell Adam that.
Well, it is, Cammy.
It is.
Believe it or not, you see the viewer count. It's not like looking at us now, and you.
It's the guy, and you're like, what if I say something wrong, and what if they take clips out of this because I'm on Globe? What if I say something really stupid and somebody makes an excerpt and then it goes viral in a stupid video, or
You've had more people than this at your house, probably for Thanksgiving, actually.
But so it's just even having like with the small show with the microphone is what can they clip, and then a big show you look at the numbers and who's in the audience, and again you instead of just being yourself, you start to worry about, or at least I do, some people do, you start to worry, well, what if I say it wrong, or what if, especially those that do not have the gift of perfect articulation, that each of us has got a skill set, and being able to, while things run very quickly through your brain, to get them to come out your mouth like this. And I know my brain is usually running a couple miles ahead of where my mouth is. And so I'm talking, but my brain has already jumped ahead 2 paragraphs. And I'll forget where I am in that. So again, it's keeping yourself, the discipline to keeping yourself at where your mouth is talking even, different disciplines that when you're on a show and talking to an audience as opposed to looking at somebody eye to eye and talking with them where it's interchange back and forth, it's a different way to have a conversation. And I think Lucas also wants to get a little bit more comfortable on air before doing a Globebusters presentation, because I think he would like his skill to shine as opposed to, because his skill is research and he's a brilliant researcher. His skill is researchers and different ways of looking at things and different ways of taking through astrology. He has so much to offer. And it's like he wants to get out that information, not the information that, ooh, I'm nervous presenting. And, you know, I mean, it's hard at the beginning going onto a show like that because you don't want it lost on, because the presentation set is not your skill set and it's not something you're comfortable with. So he's got his material down.
Lucas is in chat, by the way.
Right.
Lucas is, if I'm lying about you, Lucas, you just hop right on air.
I'd love it if you joined. Come hang out and
Lucas.
It's real relaxed and chilled out, no judgment. So if he wants to come hang out here, he's definitely welcome. Come hang out.
We do have our analysts though, Kemi. We've got our very own Dazzler artist who documents the show in our comment section. I don't know if anyone saw comments from last Friday, but
I haven't yet, but I will.
No one gets away with anything. No one gets away with anything.
Oh, no, he's on board. He's on it. He's watching.
Shout out to Darren.
And look at it. And I have to warn you. I mean, one of my first Globebusters appearances, I did moon phases years ago, where I was hitting the moon phases, and somebody did take out the excerpt with Cammie and Karen on the moon phases. And if you go to Professor Stick, you'll see that it was one of his first Flat Earth videos where he was making fun of how stupid can people be. So my actual biggest video out there, if you wanted to know where you can find the most of me, it's on a Professor Stick video. I don't know, people might not know this, but it's a Professor Stick video totally making fun of. So again, you run that with Globebusters, that you put a little bit out there, and you might come and say, wow, the show got, 40,000 views on Globebusters, but guess what? It got hundreds of thousands of views on the one calling, like, how dumb can you be video. So it's a risk. I mean, it is you have to get, when you go on and do that, you have to get to the point where you don't care about things like that and again, and just find it amusing. So there is that, things like that do happen.
That's why I've got to listen back the next day, because I don't remember what I say.
Right.
Doesn't matter what I say, really. If I don't remember it, then
doesn't count, right?
They could play anything for me. But these days, how would you know that it wasn't synthesized or, fake in some way?
Right.
If you don't remember saying it, and it sounds like you, and you wouldn't know, would you?
No, when they played that one Steve Martin clip for me, I was like, wait a minute.
Hilarious.
When did I say
that?
I didn't say this.
Go on.
It wasn't me.
Go on, Josh.
I don't have it pulled up at all, but that is well, that's why he got the nickname Navin Johnson, as I recall, just because it sounds so much like him.
I always wondered who that was.
The second and third time you played that clip with no forewarning, I thought it was Zach talking every freaking time.
Oh, that was so weird.
I'll do it. I'll eat the strike. Let's see if I can dig it up.
Will it get a strike?
Oh, I'm sure.
Just a couple seconds. Are they gonna? Oh, by the way,
the following excerpt is for purely satirical and commentary reasons. This is a satire commentary, whatever.
Oh, fuck them. We're going out over so many other platforms. And
yeah. I think Facebook blocked our show this morning.
Excellent.
Yeah, I saw that.
How can people still be on that?
Did they really?
Platform?
What did we do this morning? I can't remember. I know it was
It's probably patience. Yeah, it's probably Axl Rose.
Now, when I put my head in my hands, Liz.
I enjoyed that. I played. We had that playing at my wedding.
We played it yesterday and we're jamming.
I fixed the title too.
Thanks. I totally forgot that I didn't update Restream.
That's fine. I think somebody told us in chat, who was it? Damn, I'm trying to go back up and thank them by name, and I've lost it.
I got down here early, excited that I'd be able to get all this shit done and not have to even worry about it. And
Hey, it was Kelly. Kelly caught that. Thank you, Kelly.
yes, thank you so much.
Probably more apropos title now, anyway.
Are you
Okay,
awake?
I've managed to find this show online and find
Wait,
the
what'd you
chat.
say, Zach?
You look so beautiful and peaceful. You almost look dead. And I'm glad because there's something I want to say that's always been very difficult for me to say. I slit the sheet I slit, and on the slitted sheet I sit. I've never been relaxed enough around anyone to be able to say that. You give me confidence in myself. I know we've only known each other for 4 weeks and 3 days, but to me, it seems like 9 weeks and 5 days. The first day seemed like a week, and the second day
There is
seemed
something
like 5
about the
days,
first words
and the
when
third
he
day
first
seemed
comes
like a
in.
week.
This sounds just like Zach.
Marie, are you awake?
He starts to sound like Jonathan from Jersey later on.
You look so beautiful and peaceful.
Are you
You
awake?
almost look dead.
I can't reconcile Zach and Jonathan from Jersey in the same body.
Keep listening. I'll tell you the bit where it sounds to me anyway.
I slit the sheet I slit in 4 weeks and 3 days. But to me, it seems like 9 weeks and 5 days.
Nah, I missed
First
it.
day seemed like a week.
Missed it
The
already?
second day seemed like 5 days.
I think he
And the
said it
third day
before he
seemed
did
like a
the
week
tongue
again.
twister.
And the fourth
Yeah,
day
the first
seemed
few
like 8
sentences
days.
are the one where it's just Zach.
The fifth day,
timber,
you went to see your
everything.
mother. Marie, are you awake? Good. You look so beautiful and peaceful. You almost look dead. And I'm
And I'm
glad
sitting
because
going, what the hell is that going on
something I
about?
want to say that's always been very difficult for me to say. I slit the sheet.
I don't know.
Yeah, when
I see
when
him
we got to like there,
come hang out with us. That's awesome.
Can we get Lucas the link somehow?
I think he has to do a bit of gardening now that I'm seeing the rest of the conversation. But
Yeah,
he'll be
he's-
in kind of half a
He'll
moment.
be in a little bit. He'll be here. Yeah, can we get him a link or that? I don't know how I'll join, but I'm sure we can
I can
figure
do
it
it.
out.
I bet.
So that does sound a lot like Zach. Not that. I've noticed that happening a lot with people in the flat Earth community and listening to their stuff when I close my eyes. Not only Zach, but do you guys know who P Brain is?
Yeah.
Has everybody heard of P Brain?
Mhm.
One of my
Yeah.
favorite early channels. Yes.
Okay, now let's see if we can take you back to Northern Exposure and Chris talking on the radio. If you could find any Chris
I'll
on the
have to
radio
find
from,
that. It's been too many
see if you
years.
can find any Northern Exposure and Chris, which would be an easy clip because he was like, talked a lot on there, and see if, to me, he nails P Brain and Chris and P Brain. That's the same voice. And then the other one that's really, really close, not quite as, I think the P Brain and Chris is really good though. I think it might even be better than the Zach and Nathan Johnson. That's how good I think it is.
Jason Lindgren's good at voice, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He can mimic people and that. I'm good at like hearing the different things. Now, Topher Grace, who was on that 70s show,
Mm-hmm.
Eric from Fort whatever, from that 70s show. If you listen to him talk on that 70s show and close your eyes, you'll see Jaron. In fact, that's what I expected Jaron to look like. Boy, was I surprised.
Mike D
Yeah, I
in
can hear
chat
that.
has just realised that wasn't you, Zach.
Yeah, it took me a second. I was like, hey, I don't remember saying this. Where'd you get this? What is this?
Yeah, I'm gonna include that "Are you awake" on my soundboard for sure at some point.
And that's exactly what I'll say, Zach, when they come back and cherry pick what crap I come out with over the last 5,000 hours of broadcasting. which they'll try and use to hang us all.
Lucas, I've dropped link invitations to you there on Skype. And speaking of Skype, sir, I have not ignored our conversation. We're still, as you see, working with dates, trying to get Dom in here. So as soon as we can get the dust settled, we will definitely get back in touch with you and hopefully have some surprise guests. Hint, hint, hint. But anyway, drop that link to you, brother. It's there.
There are some
I
awesome
had
names.
no idea Dom wasn't turning up until you went
No.
live.
Yeah, I didn't know until
Can
then.
be here.
We can't keep you.
Is that the only reason you're here, John?
I'd have been sick if I'd have known he wasn't going to show up.
Hell yeah.
Shout
was up
out
really
to
early
Soundly's Banana
this
Candy.
morning.
Yeah,
I was up early enough to be on the ironworks, but mentally, no. So I don't know how long we're going to last tonight.
I have to tell you, Chris, I felt a little self-conscious getting these. I mean, technically, I don't need to own my own washer and dryer.
Not quite sure.
Sorry, I thought my mic was muted. I'm gonna find something for you.
The hell was I going to say?
Damn, we really are winging it tonight, aren't we?
Hell yeah, we are. Well, it's in response to Cammy, I think. And
Open those phone lines.
the difference between talking to somebody and talking on a microphone. And I found that there's a couple little pointers, a couple little tricks that not only work for going on somebody's show and on a broadcast with an audience, but a good general rule for life that I've found. And it's these two things. First, set the bar really low. Second, underpromise and overdeliver. And I think that will get you through life. Set the bar low.
Set the bar low,
Mhm.
real low.
Underpromise and overdeliver.
That's where I've been going wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Doing the exact opposite.
Right, because that's customer service. That's what you call customer service right there. Set the bar high, make people expect really good customer service. And when you get customer service, what do you get? They'll overpromise and underdeliver every fucking time.
Wasn't that the trick of Scotty on Star Trek? Every time he was asked to do something, can he change the laws of physics? But then somehow he'd managed to achieve. Ballers claim they can do that, but
So there was something else too. I think I was looking through some of the stories that Walt had put into chat, and it looks like he's found a new source for topics, because there were some crazy stories that I was looking in
That's
there.
why I like this new. That's one of the only cool things about the new phone is I have some news sources I've not had access to, baked in, some of the bloatware. So, but definitely it's improved some of the stranger sides of things. I don't know which one you're talking about, and we definitely will address the UFO in the room. For those of you that heard about it this morning but didn't actually see any of that, if you're a Patreon, however, you got early access to the UFO footage over there on our Patreon page. I put it up there this morning for you guys to check out.
Want to know what I think?
We'll get to that. Yes, what do you think, sir?
I think Chinese lanterns.
Nope, seen those before. Kept trying to make that be what these were.
I've seen
Is this
them
what
before as
mine
well,
showed
and I
us?
swore it was a UFO.
Whoa.
No, this was
What
Walt's
happened?
footage.
Oh no, this happened last night on the way home from dropping my son off. I had quite the experience. If you guys, but what are you pulling up, Josh, before we get sidetracked? Because I'll have to, when I have to share some of the footage because your side is acting up with it.
I was just looking at the stories. You might have to share the one. I can definitely share the one that's minute 20.
Yeah, I'll share the 19-second one.
Well, then,
Did you share it with the patrons already?
Yep.
Nice.
Yep, did that this morning. It was
Shout out
actually
to the
Dawn's
patrons.
idea. Dawn encouraged us to do that, so that we need help just like that, Dawn. Help us slow as people think of the great things we need to be doing for y'all. Help. Thank you. But yeah, some of the problem with showing it or even getting it on YouTube has been that unfortunately had been playing around with the new phone trying to determine if I want to keep it or not. And so I'm playing with all the 8K features, which once you're set into that, it's kind of a whole thing. It's great on the phone. It's great if you happen to have an 8K set up on your computer, which is about the only place you can look at 8K footage in its proper format. But that also means when I record that way, I can't just hand it over to somebody's device or upload it. Even Telegram is not able to handle those big files. So I had to resolution it, whatever you call that. I had to bring it down to like 1080 to even
De-resolution it. I like that.
I like the vocabulary.
De-resolution.
Vocabulation is one of my specialties. I'll say that. But yeah, it was quite an experience. I don't know what I saw. And I mean, I've been through it all. Trust me. I've seen a lot of shit that I could then go, oh wait, that's this or that's that. Or later on even see other people with different footage or a different take or whatever. And going into this knowing Bluebeam, knowing the drones we have, knowing all the shit that it could have been. What I saw is not anything I can explain. The light started out in a straight up and down line that went over this way at a 45-degree angle, and these lights would leave that formation and do their thing and get back in that formation, leave the formation, brighten up and go down, merge into each other. Lanterns, I don't care what kind of air currents you've got going up there. They could not have done what I saw happening. It was
I can only go on the footage you showed, though.
Yeah, the footage was, that's what I said, the footage I got was the last few seconds, literally the last few seconds of the event. The event took place over about a 5-minute period. But the first 4.5 minutes were me seeing it in the tree line going, what the fuck is that? Is that, because where I'm driving here, I drive there. That's how I go to Lafayette. I know that tree line. I know the lights that are unusual when I see something. And that was unusual. I thought a new cell phone, a new tower, a new derrick is what I thought, a rig. They pop up literally in somebody's pasture overnight. You'll see a new rig. What the fuck? Oh, it's a rig.
Are we going to play it on here?
We can. We certainly can.
Well, I think we've got to now, haven't we?
We certainly can.
It'd be a good show, yeah.
So if you're afraid of sneezes or runny noses, then you might have nose fear. Have nose fear. That's pretty good, Voynich. I like that.
I'm not gonna laugh. I'm not gonna laugh at that one.
You're not gonna.
No. You need to do better than that.
That was good. Nope. I think.
No, Oh, is my bar too high?
I gotta.
I never meant I'm gonna lower my bar.
I'm telling you.
Give me host power there, Josh.
Oh, damn it! You're the one person that didn't have host power. Sorry, Walt.
Did you say something, Zach?
I was just saying we should leave it up for the Patreons for.
Oh, they got an exclusive of ours. Good grief.
All right.
Yeah, gatekeepers.
And you're sharing the 19-second one first?
Yep.
All right.
You got me there? Oh, okay. Hang on. I got to get back to it now. Struggling. Where is Telegram? That's the problem. I keep losing it. There it is. So the first 4.5 minutes are me trying to turn around as I'm noticing these lights have leaned over into like a 45-degree angle and are leaving the formation, doing things and getting back in the formation. At this point, I know I'm not seeing anything I've ever seen. So I'm turning the car around and trying to find a little side road I know that will go in the direction this is happening, kind of through these woods and come out on another like road. And this is all basically downtown Lafayette that this is occurring over, because where I'm at is coming into Lafayette. Where is the one at? There it is. All right. So the first, oh man, why is everything so difficult when I'm trying to share? Hang on. Apparently I'm not done something right. Telegram, there we go. All right. So this video is when I finally got onto the road and I'm heading to this event. Now, as you can see, like this big bright light, can you guys see my pointer, by the way, on screen? I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know. Okay. So this big light here is not a car approaching me. This is like somebody's yard. Looks like a light you would have hanging at the football stadium. It's the brightest light I've ever seen in somebody's yard, shining onto, I guess, their little event area in their yard, shining down the road in my eyes. I'm literally having trouble seeing past this thing as I'm driving towards it. And the thing is happening like right here. This is a street pole. And these are going to be the power lines. And you're going to see through the power lines, these things kind of lined up here in a second in the formation, but one is already dropped over to the left. All right, there they are. Okay, so this is the bottom. I mean, this is not the bottom one. This is the bottom one. You can see there's still another one that's like down here. And there's a dimmer one right here. Here's the bright one. There's a dimmer one right here. And in a second, you're going to see there's a bright one that's moved over here. It's now out of line. Before that, this bottom one had been out of line, like over here somewhere. It had moved back into line, and then this top one moved over. I'm going to stop it again so you can see them better when it's still sort of. Uh-oh. See, I can't share. I knew I wouldn't be able to. It's already messed up. Oh, crap. Let me turn off my camera. That might help. Yeah, see, it's all jittery on my screen. I don't know what you guys are seeing.
Boy, do we need this rebuild.
Yeah, it's pretty jittery here too.
It's coming. Anyway, so that's the beginning of me. Okay, so there we go. So as you see down here, this is the one that was out of screen a while ago. And this line goes straight up to that one, this line. But this one over here has already come out of the line. It was probably right here. It's moved over and starting to brighten up. And that's what they would do. They would move over, brighten up, like, hey, look at me, and then get back in line. This is the street light. This is not a street light. That's one of those lights that is now brighter than before, and we can see it. And that's what they kept doing. They kept brightening up and going dim, moving over and getting back in formation, swirling around each other and becoming one and splitting apart. And all this was happening while I was trying to drive somewhere where I could actually film it. And then when I finally stopped, this is the video that Josh is going to show you guys where you can actually see the end of the event. And by the end of the event, you can see, I'll show you in a second, they're kind of forming a triangle, but not really, because there's two that are already leaving to the right. And that's what all started happening. They just all started moving in unison to the right in that triangle shape and just slowly went out and went up. As they were going out, they just went up. So right here at the beginning, those four that you see in the square shape, there's like two or three more. Like there's one here that's dim, you can't see. There's one here dim, you can't see. There's one here that's dim, you can't see. And this bright one over here. And there's even one, I think, even further over here that's going to brighten up in a second.
I don't think we can see your...
You can't see my mouse?
I'm not sure.
Let me hit annotate. Now can you see things?
I don't know.
I'm drawing.
Yeah, because mine's done the way my setup is. Oh, no, that's showing up on my screen.
Okay, well, it should show.
Weird, okay.
I'll clear it and see if it... With me sharing, I'll have to stop sharing. That's what's going on. I just realized. Sorry, everybody. We are struggling here.
Yeah, without being there.
Yes, I said, seeing this video is...
Say they go up in a line, in a straight line, because they're being launched from the same place.
Uh-huh.
Like someone's wedding or someone's Thanksgiving event. That's why I reckon you see them in a straight line, and then they deviate off.
And I know exactly what you're saying. I can see the beginning part in the line, and when they leaned over, the wind may be blowing them that way. But what I watched for the next 4 minutes, again, there's no way lanterns were doing what I was seeing do, what I was seeing them do.
Moral of the story is have a high-def camera strapped to your head 24/7.
And see, that's the other thing that pisses me off is ever since I've started carrying around this fucking useless phone, not the one I have now, but all of them, these cell phone mind control devices, the only good part I could ever see in it is when something cool is happening, I've got the camera in my fucking pocket. Well, you see what good that does if you're too excited and dealing with a new device that records in 8K and looks like shit.
But it's the same with everything, isn't it? It's like,
Yeah.
you're spotted, and it's like, it's just jittery wind blowing.
Yeah, I know. That's like what I mean. I spent all last night sleepless because of what I saw. I mean, truly, I've been through the whole thinking it all through. There's got to be a reason. I saw a reason that makes sense. And the lantern one is the least, is the most likely of them, except for what the things were doing to get back in that line. As I said, when I was driving down that road that you can only see a second of, they were leaving the formation. Damn, I thought I cleared it. They were leaving the formation. They were getting back in the line. They were doing like going over each other. And then the brightening up and the disappearing. That's what I don't get. A lantern maybe could flare up, but how would it disappear? In my sight, not on my camera. I get the camera losing resolution, but me seeing this happening and it flaring up and then suddenly gone. Like, whoa, where'd that go?
Well,
that
this is what I thought when I saw one and went in and proudly declared it to my outlaws and looked like a complete non. The blowing thing, the light comes from when the candle inside is inside the paper bag or whatever, and then you see it. Then if a wind current blows it or something, then the flame isn't going up into the paper bag above it, so it dims. And I've seen them being let off around here, and
I've watched it happen at a festival, and it was nothing.
Yeah.
It was like a swarm of fireflies going into the sky. They weren't in any way connected or, lined up or anything. Now, I see what you're saying, that somebody's wedding, having them ready to go and then cutting the cord or something like that. I get that.
I'm just playing advocate.
Dude, me too. I want this to make
without
sense.
being
Trust
there,
me,
it's
I'm the
almost
last
impossible,
person
isn't
that's
it?
saying these are aliens or any fucking thing like that. But what I saw defies my reasoning of 25, 30 years plus of research into what the fuck's going on in the sky above me.
But they could well have been drones with varying lights on the bottom.
Could have been drones, except that, again, they all took off in an upward direction. And unless they were, I don't know. The drone idea just didn't fit.
What do you
the fact that they went up?
The fact that it's at nighttime too. You know how hard it is to fly a drone at night?
Yes, I do. That's the other part. My drone flying time has let me know how difficult watching.
They fly themselves these days, don't they? Especially if you link them into
not that it's difficult to fly. They will come on, swarm you, and get you down out of the sky. You're not supposed at all to be flying at night,
unless it was they were
doing it.
Right. Yeah, unless they applied for it.
Too, that this was a display for everybody to be outside watching at Thanksgiving, but you're not ever really outside watching up in the sky at Thanksgiving. That's more of a 4th of July or New Year's Eve time. So,
these things are almost autonomous these days. I
even
can be autonomous.
If there was other reporting, like people saying anything about it on Facebook or anything last night, and I couldn't find anything except something from Thanksgiving last year, but it was in the northern part of our state, about like as far north in this state as you can go before it becomes Arkansas. In Shreveport, they had the same almost exact looking lights doing almost the exact same thing last 2019 over Shreveport.
In your defense, though, you would have thought if it was a media stunt, then the papers would have had an article on it, and a lot of people would have seen it. But
or even somebody announcing a wedding or announcing something. Because between my family and the people I've known over the years here in the area, I know a shit ton of people on Facebook. I don't go there, but when I go and look there, I can find out a pretty general idea of what's going on in the area. Like if there's been a fire or a wreck or somebody's sick or whatever, the familyness of Facebook, as fucked up as it is, that does kind of let you find out sometimes quickly what's going on. I've got all those people that were at Thanksgiving last night. They're all keeping their eye out for this, for somebody that may have a clue of the land, because we all said that it maybe was lanterns. That's the only thing that could make sense, except for them lining back up. Once they were cut off that line, how the fuck did they get back in that line? That's the only part I never could make.
Well, a localized wind current would probably do that.
It was fucking geeks reflecting off of the Venus cloud bank, and as the swamp gas collided with it, it then flared up in the headlight of an oncoming vehicle. I don't know what.
Well, if one came up and say it caught a thermal or whatever, so the highest one, the one they launched first, caught a thermal to the right, and it would fly off to the right, and then the next one would catch the thermal, they'd fly off, and they would generally follow the same sort of wind thermal things. I don't know. 24-hour high definition camera strapped to your head.
Strapped to my head. All right.
Go
Wait,
augmented on us, Walt. Go
That's
transhuman.
That's it. I'm ready. I'll get my little magnet in my chest and my camera in my forehead. Who needs a third eye? I'm good.
Now,
I have a fourth eye.
how far away did the lights feel from you as far as did they, like how close or far, or did you have
Truly,
any type
like,
of depth perception?
if I was going to say within, like, they were less than a mile from me. That's how
Okay, so it didn't feel like this could be a weird Starlink passover.
Oh
that
yeah,
they were
no, I
trying
thought
to do. No.
yeah, this was below the cloud layer because it was cloudy as fuck. That was the other part. For this to be any kind of aircraft, quote unquote, it would either be some kind of, like you say, all controlled by computer somewhere centrally. You know, aircraft wouldn't even have been playing around in the cloud cover last night in our area, let alone like.
I have an idea.
Sure.
Okay, here's my idea. Maybe it's the Starlink, and it's a holographic thing, and they screwed up by not turning off the holograph system, being it cloudy, until it reflected onto the clouds, and that instead of going higher up the way it should have gone on the projection, and it messed up with their projection system. Maybe they, like for Thanksgiving, were drunk and not paying attention, and they're supposed to turn it off when it gets cloudy. You know, a holographic system, a light system.
Right.
Yeah, maybe they were supposed to, yeah, maybe when the conditions go bad, they're not supposed to be running it because you wouldn't see through the clouds. But maybe the person, again, had COVID, got sent home from the office, the person in charge of turning off the system, and maybe they left the light show running where it was running off of the low ceiling cloud.
It's possible.
I'll go.
Oh, come on, that's fun.
Soundly's banana cam. I'll go with them fireflies.
Right there, you go.
Big ass fireflies.
Play the rest of this video, Josh. At least they can see the
mutant COVID fireflies.
And the other part of this is because of the flaring up that kept happening, it kept throwing the focus on my camera off. That's why they keep blurring out and I have to keep refocusing. Plus, I was trying to watch it in real time and not watch it through the camera viewer. I wanted to see it with my eyes, so I kept losing the where they were on my camera. Like, that's me drifting, watching them in the sky, me losing the focus, like, oh shit. And then I look down at my camera and my phone and realize, oh shit, I got to get it back in focus. And that's when the light on the street light down here would screw me up and throw it all out of focus again. And so that was me fighting, trying to, and I'm also sitting there trying to decide, should I stop recording and call Michelle and them at the house and get them to go outside and see this? Or that'll probably disappear before I can. And as you see, they're slowly but surely, one by one, going away. And that last one that stays bright stayed the brightest. And then right at that last second, as it started going out, it started heading up. And you really can't see any of that hardly at the end here. It just kind of fades away on the film because I'm going, wait, don't leave. I want to see more. What the fuck is this? And then it was gone. And there were vehicles that were like across this street where those lights are that had stopped. They had slowed down and pulled over like they were seeing it too, but then you can hear them pulling off right there at the end. Like when it was over, they pulled away, or I would have went and asked them, hey, what the fuck? Did y'all see that? But I'm sure if I was in the dark and some dude walked up to my car freaking out, I'd have probably either shot first and ran, or who knows. But yeah, it was definitely, if anybody was outside looking up at that moment, there's no way in Lafayette that they didn't see this happening. And I've yet to see a report anywhere. News, radio, newspapers, Facebook. I don't see anything yet.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Why don't I ever get to see stuff like that?
And what's crazy is if I'd have seen this 10 years ago, I would be like at MUFON right now. Like, let's go, let's get out there and find out what this was, you know. But now I've got a whole different mindset about it. And I still don't know what the fuck it is. No clue. I can't say that was just, you know, that was just lasers, or that was just holograms, because it sure was pretty freaking real looking there. And you say that too, but all those people I'm sure that see those things in the sky that are projected or whatever at those shows, it looks pretty real to them as well. There just was no reason for this to be there. You know, like some kind of event or some kind of whatever, other than a non-event Black Friday night. That was about it, you know. There was no stores having great sales. There was no premieres opening. There was no anything other than everybody celebrating indigenous cultural execution. That's all I could see that was going on last night. That's called Thanksgiving here in America, by the way.
Oh, by the way, that you just made me think of something, because one of the things I caught was one of the areas I forgot, was it Boston or somebody imposed a curfew? I think Denver did too for Thanksgiving. And it's like, are these people, it's like you would do anything for headlines because unless I'm backwards, I've spent my whole life here and have done countless Thanksgivings. Thanksgiving is a holiday that you get together with your family, you eat dinner around 3 o'clock, and by 7 or 8 o'clock, you're passed out cold because you're on turkey overload with the wine and the thing. And you might sing, but and like we were singing, but let's be true on us singing and partying last night at 9:30. We thought it was really late and people were leaving. 8:30 or 9:30.
We're all getting on up there. The party stops a lot earlier these days, I've noticed.
Oh, I'm not, no, but for Thanksgiving itself, Thanksgiving is not a go out to the bars holiday. I mean, I've never thought of it as a day that people are out in the bars until 2 o'clock in the morning. It's a day with family that you eat a lot of. In other words, I would not see it as like a St. Patrick's Day or something that you would worry about the crowds getting together because of the virus. To close the bars early on Thanksgiving seems a little bit. I mean, it's not that type of a holiday. It's a So I thought that was like just grabbing a headline for no reason. Why would you close the bars or have an early curfew on Thanksgiving? It's not known exactly as a late party night. If anything, it's the night that everybody passes out early because they've eaten so much tryptophan.
Well, Black Friday's a thing, but that Friday after Thanksgiving is a big night for bars because kids are home from college generally at this time, and they're all hitting their hometown bars, meeting up with their old high school friends, new college friends, whatever it is. So this is usually a really big moneymaker for bars and restaurants too.
So maybe on Friday night, but why on Thanksgiving would you have to put a curfew?
Because you can.
Because you can. It's like, what's the... That's it. It's like any rule you can.
Well, it's like in the UK, you can't go to the pub and have a drink unless you have a substantial meal with it. Define substantial. That's part of the stipulations put in place.
That's
you
why
heard that, Adam?
horrible frozen pizzas, right?
And Nemo's right in
Substantial
chat.
meal is defined as
It's Wednesday,
not a packet of crisps and not just a plate of chips.
So it has a legal description?
Well, that's in the guidance. I don't think that's necessarily legal, but yeah,
but
substantial.
You ask, why curfew us on a day of celebration or whatever? I mean, why are you allowed to eat and drink, but not drink and have a sandwich? I mean, it's just literally, it's
all
so
of it's stupid.
Face. It's
all
so
of it's
in your face.
All of it's so in your face. That was just like if you had a hotspot, a virus hotspot at a grocery store with all of the food, to give away all of the food, leave it open late to give all the food away from the hotspot would be very counterintuitive in a real pandemic.
It's designed to spread confusion.
Confusion, fear, and following orders, and nothing more really. But yeah. I've been really proud of the newspapers in this area.
Happy Saturday, everybody there.
Yeah.
In the UK, just hit 12 o'clock a.m. I see.
Yep, the newspapers here, like when talking about the hospitals and that, I noticed to put into the first paragraph and even at the beginning, of the second that, well, yeah, the hospitals are getting pretty full, and this hasn't happened since 3 years ago when we had a bad flu season. It hasn't been this bad, and it's like, thank you for making it real. But yeah, I don't know. You look at the different newspapers around it. It's interesting how the different regions are different, and I'm really glad I'm in a low-key region. I'm sorry for those of you that aren't. It's kind of cruel.
I did want to correct myself. Nemo in chat corrected me, actually. It's Wednesday night. It's ladies' night. That Wednesday before Thanksgiving. That's usually the busiest for bars and restaurants with the college kids. That Wednesday night before Thanksgiving.
Wednesday night. So they didn't include the Wednesday night. What about, the bartenders? Does anybody think, has Thanksgiving ever been a bar night? A big,
Yeah, the Wednesday night for sure. Because like Josh said, all the kids are home from college.
But what about, but it was Thursday. It was a Thanksgiving curfew at 10 o'clock. Is Thanksgiving Day, okay, our bartenders in the chat, I've never known Thanksgiving night to be a night that you go out drinking late.
Yeah, we went out drinking every night. Thanksgiving was just another reason to do so.
I was going to say, in the UK, we don't need an excuse every night. is a go out and drink late night
Okay.
if you can.
If you
But
can.
that's died now. That is absolutely dead now. However, some good news. The pub I used to head chef at and spent many a drunken 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock night staggering her away from. Lovely little thatched cottage in the middle of the black country down here. It went bust about 2 months ago due to all this bollocks, but has just been bought by, I think he's a Michelin chef, but I know he's a friend of mine, is really good quality chef, and he's just bought the place. So I'm well chuffed. I might even crank myself back into existence and offer my services again, because that's really
Yeah.
good.
I thought you were just going to say you're going to venture out the house.
Right? Same. I imagine how big that was going to be.
This place, I left London and I started working in this place with the best chef I've ever worked with, and from then on, some of the best chefs I've worked with. Ended up head chefing it myself for 6 months, and then it all collapsed and went down the shitter. But there you go. But yeah, that's good news.
I just think if you're there and if you need anything that needs to be welded.
There you go.
I mean,
I can make it.
I know.
Well, I
Lucas.
can't. I've got the equipment to make it. Oh yeah, we've been joined by Lucas. I'll shut up now.
No.
Hey, Lucas.
Can you hear me all right?
Oh yeah, coming in clear.
Evening,
Okay.
Lucas.
Good day.
Actually,
Good morning.
is Lucas low to anybody else, or is it just me?
A little bit low.
Little
yeah,
low.
it would be good
I'll turn
morning
it
over
up.
there. It's probably
How's
about
that?
9
Bit
o'clock
better?
in the morning.
That,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah.
Okay.
I
How
don't
you
want
doing, Lucas?
Yeah, I'm good. Just been on the garden and getting salads. And yeah, so basically my wife, she makes all these pre-made salads for the shop. So yeah, just been harvesting and yeah, running it through the kitchen.
Sweet. Have you done any research on this magnetic water and all that sort of thing?
Not a lot. Only the idea that, say, water without any particulates in it is non-conducting. So it's actually the salts or particulates in the water that creates that ionic flow.
That makes a lot of sense because when I make colloidal silver, I usually use distilled water. But then if you add 1 grain of salt, after 4 hours, this thing normally in distilled water is like 15 to 20 parts per million. But if you add 1 grain of salt, you get like 110,000 parts per million or whatever. It just goes off the chart. So, yeah, I think you're right. It's other contaminants that the electrolysis works with.
Yeah, and I've seen a video of a guy basically plugging in power cords and stuff underwater, but it was purified to such an extent that it's non-conducting.
Oh wow, I've not seen that. That's pretty interesting.
Well, the trouble is, distilled water is a vacuum water, as they call it, and it's so tough to keep it at that neutral pH with 0 contaminants because it just wants to take things in. And yeah, water works as a great insulator, but it's hard to get it to stay a great insulator.
That's right. When you make distilled water, if you don't cap it quickly, then it will suck in other contaminants from the air around it. So I've read. Don't know how true.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Even in the older sort of ideas, like alchemical ideas, they regard water as feminine, so it's always wanting to draw into itself.
And that's one of the things that makes it so good for your body is its ability to draw in all of those inorganic particulates that your body accumulates that don't really need to be there. So it can absorb those and suck those out and flush them right out with it.
Not the organic.
Exactly.
Ones, just for anyone listening. It doesn't suck your bones dry of calcium and make you snap while you walk up the stairs. It doesn't suck all the vitamin D out of you and turn you into a translucent zombie or anything. Yeah, do a little bit of research and you'll see.
And I think air has the same sort of qualities to water as well. It's just, obviously in a different state, but it seems to be non-conducting as well, unless it has particulates in it.
But I imagine those particulates in water and air are probably necessary in order for the electric atmosphere that we're living in to work properly in some way. I mean, it's not often you wouldn't get distilled water coming out of a waterfall or whatever, but rain is distilled, I suppose, until it collects all the contaminants that it does whilst falling to earth. Yeah,
but it's part of the water cycle, the distillation, right? It condenses and falls and evaporates and rises again. That's basic. Only to condense back up in the clouds. That's how you distill water.
That's what I was taught. However, all the crap that's in our atmosphere now, we don't know what the water sucks up as it comes down. Don't know. But what I do know is that I haven't been ill for way over a year now. And the only two things I did was A, have my root canal removed, and B, start drinking distilled water. I've been on it for about 3 years now, maybe. But it doesn't kill you, people. Don't worry. Neither does colloidal silver and all these other amazing things. What amazing things do you use, Lucas?
Oh,
tomatoes.
Yeah, I just try and eat pretty, just whole foods, plant-based diet. Basically, that's all I do. But I wouldn't consider myself extremely healthy. But I don't really get sick either, so maybe I am.
Oh, that's the definition of healthy, isn't it? I suppose. Do you get sick? No.
I should have. Well, I should have more energy than I do. Let's put it that way.
Energy is, there's something sapping it. I think I do it to myself most times, but with all this British drinking. But yeah, energy.
Now, Zach, were you around for the drama of the plastic cup this morning?
The what now?
The drama of the plastic cup. Bob couldn't find his cup.
No, he came down and asked, and I was like, nah, I haven't seen it.
Okay, we're going to do a family story on there because this relates back to, now that I'm thinking about it, I can take this to a complete fallback to distilled water, and now the little puzzle pieces fit back into place. But a few years ago, about the same time we started distilling water, my husband was like always thinking that if like the water, if you didn't drink it for an hour or two, it just tasted dirty and dusty, and he wanted a cup with a lid on it. So I was at Walgreens and I got him this stupid like 24-ounce plastic acrylic cup or whatever with a lid on it. And it was a Harry Potter cup, but it was clear, and he loved this cup. And asked Zach, he's attached. He always has to have his water cup. He keeps the lid on it, drinks out of it at all times. And we had our party last night. We got drunk, and lo and behold, this morning we couldn't find the cup. It disappeared, and it's not that big of a house. We looked high, we looked low. There was no cup. And so we were like, well, the only way we can we've now looked like for 3 hours for a stupid cup. There's only one way to make this cup pop back into existence, and that's by buying and purchasing another cup, which we did. We went to Amazon, we found another cup, we ordered it, and an hour later, the cup did pop back into existence. It got put in the cooler, Zach. So, but the moral of the story is that my husband like completely lost it. He can't drink ever. Now that where the tie-in is where he started to have a cup on his cup was when he started drinking distilled water. And there is something about distilled water that if you're drinking out of it and you have a cup that you're sipping out of a while, you really, really taste the dust and the stuff in the air. It really pulls the taste into it with that.
And if you ever put it in a copper mug, have you ever tried some energy stuff? The taste with distilled water is off the charts. It's crazy.
It's off of the charts. It's crazy. So yeah, that whole story, it got to me thinking is like now my husband's now incapable of drinking water without sippy cup.
Yeah, the special sippy cup.
No,
With you,
yeah, a
Bob.
covered
I've got
cup.
my special. I got a cup. This is my water cup. I've got my special
But really,
coffee mugs, and I've got my special tea glasses. I'm with you, friend. Don't worry.
I wasn't really quite sure about the particulars, but this whole conversation just made it all like clicked in perfectly. It's like, you know what? The same time that he started whining was the exact same time we did the distiller. And what, in other words, everything just fell into place. And it's like, it's because of the distilled water. That's all he drinks is distilled water. And it makes it taste like crap without it. So there you have it. The weird tie-in story on this all. And now you get to know about the cup drama and that we did
How
find
long
the
has he
cup.
been doing the distilled water, Cammy, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, we used to do, I'll give you a hint. We'd had a John Ellis machine, one of those distills and energizes. And I don't know if anybody's familiar with them or not. But with those, they have where you make the distilled water, but for every little bit of distilled water you get, like for every cup of distilled water, you get like 4 or 5 cups of discharge water that's not distilled. So it's a huge water waster. But the water was the sweetest in the world. But what we do is I couldn't stand wasting the water. So the only time we would make a batch of water was when we filled the hot tub. And we'd use the discharge water to fill the hot tub up. And then we would take the other bottles that we were making them and make a whole bunch of 5-gallon ones and then pour off of it. So we did that off and on for years, and that wasn't so much with the lid. That one did the lid, and the rest of the time we did a Berkey. And just when David Weiss and everybody were talking about a couple of years about, like probably 2 or 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago with the little distiller things, that's when we ordered one of the little electronic distillers. And at that point was when, so it's interesting that the John Ellis water did not have the same effect of feeling so dirty so quickly. So that is an interesting thing. But again, as soon as we started doing the home, the brand of the thing is home something electronic, and I'd say like 2.5 years would be my best guess on it. But with that distiller came the feeling that when you had the water and you set it down, if you, like, as soon as you set it down and picked it up again, it tasted dirty. You had to, it tasted delicious right when you poured it, but if you set it down and 20 minutes later, it just wasn't the same. And again, the lid on the top of it made all the difference in the world.
All right, the bottom just fell out here. If you can hear that, that's the rain that just suddenly started here.
Wow. Oh, I hear this. Lovely.
Right, sorry about that. I mean, as far as I know, it's right at the window, my mic. Well, I know, like, probably, man, it could have been even before we started this show when we were still doing, like, hangouts and Twitter room chats and stuff, that we had a buddy named Hacksaw who was a huge advocate of everybody should be drinking distilled water, all the things it does for your system, what it does for your third eye, cleansing, just all these things. And I just wondered, have you guys seen some of that change, some of that effect as you've changed to more distilled water? Because I'll do spring water too, just for the taste. There's nothing like real spring water if you can get it, which is hard to do, I know. But where I grew up, man, we had a well with some of the most amazing water that was just so filled with things that literally, when you have flatulence, you smelled like the water at my uncle's well. So it was crazy. I mean, when I stayed there for the summers, what it would do to your body and how it would change just everything about you. What distiller are y'all using?
It's like the home something, and again, because we've always done like purified. I mean, he's been into how much gunk is in the water, and we went to track long before Hacksaw that. I like probably 20. We've probably been doing like distilled in different forms of it for 20 years.
Oh yeah, me too.
So,
See, I had been drinking it off and on for other reasons too, for like
right,
taking vitamins and doing different things.
right. This one probably was when he was going gung ho and got everybody in the whole community. We got this one, and
Right.
it says
It
Zach's walking in and looking at
all
it.
at the same time.
Yeah,
Flat Earth. That's crazy.
Yeah, we bought into it when the wave happened with David and Jer, and I mean everybody, and Karen has one, and we all have the same one, and we all did it. So we did that wave, and with that wave of this, and we like it. He likes the water a lot on this. He likes it better than the Berkey. I usually drink out of the Berkey because we go through so much distilled water. I usually still just do the Berkey clean. And I don't know, we've had so many changes and different things going. I don't know. To me, it's a funny thing. It's a funny, like, I almost call it a family thing, that when we meet these new levels and get the different, like, water purifications, that as soon as you're hooked on that, it's hard because you can't. Any water that's not that good bothers him. Where
Right,
to
going
me,
to a family member's house and they offer you like
right, it's something to
water
find.
out of the sink, and it's like,
No,
I'm take it.
it's so
I
to me.
know
When,
my mom. I went over to her house and I went to go. It was right at when I'm. It was a while ago when she was taking care of me after my lung collapsed, and I went to go take one of the pain pills, like the first night, and I was like, oh, let me get a glass of water, and she gave me some of the tap water, and I had bottled water. I don't know why I drank it, but I just drank it real quick and I spit it out. It was so disgusting.
Pure chlorine and death. That's what it tastes like now.
Yeah, she was like, what's wrong? What? I was like, oh my God, Ma, your water is so chemically. And she was like, I don't even taste it. I was like, oh my goodness, Mom. Come on.
so yeah, drinking the good stuff creates the contrast. It creates a huge contrast. It was kind of like when I told Zach even on there, I was nervous on introducing whipped cream to my husband's coffee, and with good reason. I made a joke that I was like, now the reason I haven't done this before is he's going to now think that coffee comes with whipped cream. So whenever we're at a whipped cream, it's terrible, but I did give it to him, and I think that was one of those things in your mind that you manifest in your mind because you worry it's going to happen, and sure enough, it manifested. And now, other things you have to worry about is like not only having the right creamer, but now we know that unless there's whipped cream, we don't have the proper ingredients to make a good cup of coffee at the house. So it just adds a layer of, to me, these things. I think they're healthy in that, and then I look in like that terrible way of looking at it. Oh, it adds another layer that you have to have, that things aren't right unless you have it.
Right, and that shows you, like with your mom's reaction, but how it's so easy when people are just used to it that it doesn't even bother them. They're just like, yeah, it's just how water tastes. And when they find you hand them distilled water and they're like, oh, what's this? This don't taste right.
Well,
So
this
it's
is it,
completely on its head.
I'm not a health freak, as you probably gathered. I'm not a health freak at all. But what I do like doing is mitigating the bad things I do.
I'm right there with you, John. That's
Yeah.
my job. It's what I do. I'm trying to prevent all this other shit that's killing me from doing that.
Yeah. So when you find out and you test the municipal water from your faucet, see how American I am, then then it's just a no-brainer. It's like, okay, well, I abuse my body in so many ways, then at least the least I can do is to give it some distilled water, some pure water or whatever. Well, this is why I'm so into what Dom was going to come on and talk about, was how to energize it, because it does taste slightly flat, slightly dead sometimes. When I first tasted it, after drinking, I was drinking Berkey filtered water before that for a few years, and then tap water before that. But after first tasting the distilled, it was sweet. It just tickled your taste buds. But now it's gone a bit dull. I don't know. Maybe I need to change the filter or clean it out or do something to it. But
We had really good, and we did testing on this years ago, like 15 years ago, where we put on 5-gallon jugs of water, and this was with the John Ellis distilled. But we put one in a dark room and we put one in the sunlight, and the one in the sunlight we put headphones on and played solfeggio tones for it. So we put headphones on the water jug and let it listen to music for 8 hours of solfeggio tones. And then we had people do taste tests, and everybody picked the water that was in the sunlight with the solfeggio tones as remarkably sweeter. Just a fun little thing to throw at you on an experiment we did. Again, it was a lot of water, very high waste to maintain that water, and I think it's delicious and good. And I agree with the city tap, and this is where I draw the line, that I want the fluoride out, not Berkey. I don't drink anything from the tap. I pull the fluoride out and the other things, and I think, and distilled to me is a treat. I just try to leave some treats instead of, I guess, give myself the best of all things all the time. But
And then you go and take a shower in the chlorinated shit.
Right. You do and immerse
Soak
yourself
it
for a
all
hot
up.
bath. I know, and soak it all in.
Body
It's true.
absorption.
It's
You're
true.
right. And I've
It's
looked
so
into
true.
the whole house systems, and they're so overly priced.
They're so expensive.
It's only
Not
about
even
1,200 from what I've seen.
Plus, I rent, so I have to talk my landlord into doing it. I can't just drop it for his home and leave, at some point in the future. So
For a really good reverse osmosis system for your whole house, I think you can run
Where
it
it
about,
does your bathtub in that too?
it takes it right at the input, right where the water comes in the house. And that's where it starts to reverse osmosis. So everything beyond that goes throughout the rest of the house is treated with that reverse osmosis.
Yeah,
what'd you say the
you
price
can
was?
get them, but then you've got to add in the filter changes every 6 months and the this, that, and the other.
Mhm.
And it
So
becomes
you can
a
get a
bit
top of the
ball.
line for about $1,200, I think. You can get like a middle of the road for about $750. You can usually tack on 2 years worth of filters and stuff. So what is that, 4, 6, whatever it is, sets of
Yeah.
filters and have them on there. So for about $1,000, you can get all of your whole house treated with that reverse osmosis.
Or you could refuse to pay your water bill for a year and spend that money on buying the filter and then charge it back to the water company saying, look, until you provide me with water that is sufficiently adequate for drinking and bathing in, you can screw yourself.
It's gross here. You can smell the chlorine in it.
Yeah, here too. Yeah,
Yeah,
I won't
same,
even.
same here. Yeah.
Yeah.
We I was looking at those reverse osmosis, especially for the garden, because I just don't have enough water catchment to run the garden, so I have to use some mains. But yeah, I was looking at those things, and something like that was huge cost. But the chlorine really does affect how things grow as well. It basically it kills the biology. So I can imagine it's doing the same thing to your gut biota and things like that. So.
And you're a farmer, basically, or how would you describe yourself, Lucas?
Yeah. Well, just a urban farmer or in-town farmer.
So you got the finger on the pulse on, you can tangibly see the effects of shit water and good water, I imagine.
Yeah, especially with chlorine, it's basically moving it to one side of the scale too far. So you have to sort of and basically increase your organic material and things like that to try and compensate and give
mitigate.
Yeah, so it's like you're doing basically.
Yeah. Are you fluoridated down there?
No, I don't think so. And the other thing is, like, where they draw their water, they have 2 different bores, and one's better than the other. One's more salty, and when I've run out of tank water, I've used a distiller, and the amount of muck that's left over from doing that distillation process is gross. But you also get a fair bit of calcium with it as well, which isn't so bad garden wise.
I'm sure there's a lot of good stuff in there, but my God, when you look at the bottom of the distiller, even after 4 liters,
It's gross.
Like, I don't know. It's like,
well, thinking about bathing and all that chlorine, I mean, your skin is pretty, I mean, it's the biggest organ you have. If you can't put it in your mouth safely, you shouldn't put it on your skin, period. Or wait, I'm sorry, I reversed that. If you can't put it on your skin safely, you shouldn't put it in your mouth, whichever. Your body absorbs all that shit.
Yeah,
and
both.
Here, it's so horrible here. I mean, it's not like, and then here we have so many water occurrences with flooding and storms here that affects our water systems, backing up into the levees and backing up into the canals here. So constantly we're getting the boil notices, or like the note in the mail from, 3 months ago we got cyclosporadic, blah, blah, blah. You should have, blah, blah. Thanks for letting me know that then, not 3 months later. It's pretty ridiculous here. And I mean, you can smell it when you turn on the tub or turn on the shower. It just chemicals. It's horrible. It's really horrible. So
well, it's just the worse the water becomes, the more chemicals and chlorine and shit they add, and it's got to the point now. I mean, people over here can set their water on fire. Now, I'm not sure if that's an urban myth or not, but
I know you supposedly can burn Lake Erie. Is that the one that you can just set on fire? It has caught on fire many years
no, you
ago.
just open the tap and you can set the shit on fire because there's so much chemical in it.
Well, yeah, the thing about it is it makes me think of is, for 20 years or 30 years, longer than that even, I had a hot tub. And you put the pristine water in, and as you use it, you put more chemicals in, more chemicals in, more chemicals in. But at some point, you gotta dump the water.
Yeah.
It just, you're right, and we're at a point right now. I don't know what to say. I know that I'm glad I live in a rainy area. With the stream nearby.
And usually, when you're setting a liquid on fire, you're having a good time, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
It doesn't even get you drunk.
Do we think, round table, that water is finite? Is that what we've got is what we've got? Or do you think it's regenerative? Or
No, I think asteroids are full of water.
And comets are made of
The
ice.
moon, I've heard there's moon water now.
Thanks, Zach.
No,
Thanks.
really,
Thanks, Walt.
If I run out of water, John, I'm just going to go and hack a big iceberg off the ice wall and just drag that back. There's plenty there.
I think I'm going to take this one. I think it's finite to a sense that we have, like what we have in the system, of course, regenerates and makes some bonds together and does the little chemical alchemy. But I do think that there's a lot of water we don't, like, again, they just found a huge freshwater area. In other words, I think I see that there's a whole depository system. That's what I see as the tides working on the magnetic lines in that. I think that there's a whole underground water system that we don't fully acknowledge.
Well,
we talk about little glimpses and pieces of it, but I think it's a much bigger and extensive. And again, I believe it's all connected. I see it as a circlet. You see the tides and you see the pattern of when the quadrupole pattern that you see, like on the map, the Ferricel, on that exact pattern that Zach, you did it beautifully with the tides. It's a pulse pattern. It's an internal system. So even though I think the water is finite, I don't think that the spherical magical answers to what and where our water sources are is accurate. I think that it's a lot more. There's a lot more to it than what we're aware of. There's more levels to it.
But do you remember reading the accounts of the guy who went to the North Pole and everything? No, I'm getting it mixed up. Maybe this was Wilkins.
World Beyond the
They
Poles.
were running out. Yeah. What was that? What?
World Beyond the Poles, was that the one?
Yeah, when they were running out, they'd run out of drinking water or whatever, and he kept periodically dipping his mug in the ocean. And this was up near the North Pole somewhere, and amazingly, at one point it came back and it was fresh water. That's not amazing to me, seeing as icebergs are fresh water. Then, and surely there's a lineation between the fresh water and the salt water.
What about the four-way pump system that Mercator drew on his North Pole map? I mean, with the
Well,
island.
that's like the quadrupole that Cammy's on about, isn't
Right.
it?
And then if you think about, as you were saying, Cammy, the finite ball version, that definitely puts the water and the oil and all these other resources into a finite shape.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's where they mind fuck us and get us to pay for electricity, and fucking water come out of our tap. That's death.
The electricity and getting us to pay for it. I mean, that's the biggest, that is the name of the game. They have taken what is provided to us and what is meant to be, meant to be free and shared. And they've not only, charged us and turned us into slaves for it, but they've done something better in this. This is true saintry to me. This is pure evil. They've gotten us to rip up and totally maul, rape, and pillage and plunder the ground. We're basically beating up and raping the earth, beating the shit out of her. I mean, just a brutal, bloody rape on something that she's like, here, it's right here, it's free. Here, just look how it works. Here's your patterns, here's your information. I give it all to you freely of free will, and instead of taking it, we're like sticking knives in. And I mean, that's what that's the most evil of everything we're doing? I mean, I truly, if you were Satan, if there was a Satan and devising up a plan, what we've done with the energy would be the way to do it is you take what's most naturally given freely and kindly and get you to rape and maul the source and ruin it so it can't even produce it the way it should be. I mean, fossil fuels, please, please. I'll let Lucas take it from here. I mean, I'm in a rant.
Yeah, definitely, and it's basically the whole bowl of wax, isn't it? It's when you're looking at the flat Earth, you're looking at free energy, you're looking at the whole works and the whole system of control at the same time. So it's a pretty big subject.
Exactly. And when I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt and then send it right back. But when they say why does it matter and what could it matter, you can take every bit you want, but that right there matters. That again, they're turning us into evil. That free energy. If we understood, you want to know why they keep it a secret? If you understand how it really works, you understand how it really works, and you understand that energy is free and that they're creating slaves out of it. To me, when it says what does it matter, that's a huge why does it matter and why would they lie?
Yeah, exactly. And it does matter on so many different levels any way you want to cut it. But yeah, the free energy thing is just massive. Even the formation of plasma. So just understanding the basics of how to refine some, say you've got some like the Geet engine. I've talked about that in a few videos where basically you're adding a refinery to an engine, and from that you can change it into a plasma, and then you're getting super amounts of efficiency. The other thing, like nature is always producing an abundance. There's everywhere you look, it's always overproducing what you need. So and by them stifling that abundance is really working against nature, and we can see the result of it.
Well, I mean, just the if you just take energy as an example, I mean, how much of what we do every day is governed by the price of energy? Like heating our flats or cooling our things or watering our crops or doing absolutely running our cars or anything everything's governed by how much will this cost me to do this. So if it was known fact that there was free energy, there would be no limitations put on heating, cooling, transportation, or anything along those lines. So it is really a game changer on that front. People sort of scoff at free energy devices, this, that, and the other, and it's like flat Earth. Once it's realized, it changes everything, full stop. And it's the same with free energy. Is that it's not a conspiracy theory. It's a case of
it's real,
actively hidden from you.
And Lucas would know better than anyone. It works like a battery. Our Earth, our world works like a battery. There's no other way to get around it. And Lucas on the panel, nobody has done more work into this than he has, and that's why I really appreciate you here, Lucas.
Well, it's part of my background in a sense. Like, I was looking at all these free energy, off-grid, type stuff a long while ago, and then I got into the kinesiology side of things, which is basically dealing with the energy in the body and emotions and all that sort of thing. So it sort of just put two and two together, and rather than, it's just a bit of a unique perspective on the flat Earth movement. And it was basically, instead of looking at things separately, I looked at the energy. And the other thing was, I had a fascination with that zodiac, and that was basically a little hat tip, and I just followed it. So you were speaking earlier about like me doing a Globebusters show and not saying very much and things like that, and it comes down to I'm not really very all over the flat Earth sort of topics and things like that, because I've just really been focusing on the one thing. So it's and then I can say things that are seem a bit outlandish, just because it's a step away, or it's just where I've sort of pinpointed my studies in a sense. So yeah, that's my
Well,
little
Lucas,
rant.
dude, if there's anywhere you should know by now, you can step off the normal path that's here with this crew for sure. Speculation, dude, that's where I live most of the time. So yeah, I'm all about it. I'm all about it.
Are you saying you've been compartmentalized, Lucas? Self-compartmentalized yourself.
Oh, it's just the way I look at things. I just sort of focus in and yeah, that's just how I research. I just hone in and ask. I just in a state of constantly asking questions, and it's really the questions that you ask that lead you to the right answer. So you constantly ask different questions and work your way around a subject that way, rather than well, that's just the way I do it, basically.
Well, can I ask you a question completely off the chart, about what you see coming up between now and March next year on an astrological, or however that word is defined these days, sense? Are you feeling what we're being fed is, the great conjunctions and all this sort of stuff coming up? What are you seeing?
Well, that sort of interplay between Jupiter and Saturn, as far as the model and things that I've been working with, I basically see them as almost like a rechargeable battery. Those two planets themselves. So there's definitely a recharging or something going on in that way. I haven't really delved too much into it, to tell you the truth. But my main concern is the financial situation. I mean, there's $270 trillion just hanging out there. There's the derivatives market, which is in the quadrillions, and trying to rectify that and see where that it's going to fall, but how that's going to fall, how it's going to unfold, is probably the biggest concern. And even to the extent I think COVID will make that look, it's not really the biggest issue in comparison to the behind the scenes monetary side of thing, and the effects that will, how that'll carry through the society. So that's one of my biggest concerns.
Do you see COVID as a veil, as a sort of smokescreen for what is really going on in the background? Because I agree. I mean, I come from the opinion that you can't have a one world government without destroying all governments, all currencies, all police, all judiciary, all councils, everything that we have grown up with. And I've said this for a long time, which is why I think we're seeing the destruction of all of this, including the voting system, and everything is being shown as being a farce, etc. It's all got to come down if they're going to replace it with a one world government. Okay.
I have an idea. How about we can keep all this stuff and we just make one new rule, and I think it would change things so much. You are not allowed to be in I don't want to say the word secret society. We'll say a fraternity of some sort, a fraternal organization. You are not allowed to be in a fraternal organization and hold public office. You can't be part of a secret group and then also work in the public sector.
Well, that's sort of in place already. I mean, you're not allowed to be a lawyer and the president.
Well, no, but you can be a Freemason or a Knight of Malta, or you can take all these secret oaths.
What do you mean you can't be a lawyer and a president? You can't be maybe an acting lawyer away at president, but a lot of presidents have lawyer backgrounds.
Yeah, I know, but it's been an axiom from early on, as far as I'm aware.
Well, there's
is
two
that-
different constitutions here in the United States. So what John's talking about is a reference to the original U.S. Constitution, where the 13th Amendment reads, there's a Titles of Nobility Act, whereupon anybody who claims a title of nobility from another sovereign state, like if you were to become an attorney and you are granted a specific title as that attorney, then you should not be allowed to be a citizen of that particular country, of the United States. And if you're not a citizen of the United States, you can't then hold public office. So any attorney that is holding public office is really technically doing it against the U.S. Constitution as it's originally written. That was the Constitution for the United States of America, as opposed to the one that we're under now, which I think is the Constitution of the United States of America.
Well done, Josh.
Well, I just
say nice one, Josh. Fucking hey.
I would say just put them all on minimum wage and see what happens.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I will say, going back a step there, Lucas, you kind of broke my brain a little bit. I even did the for a second, because when you said that about the alignments, it suddenly occurred to me. I've been doing a lot of looking into cell phone batteries lately because I'm not happy with the length of time this wonderful new huge battery is giving me, and trying to figure out about fast charging and finding out how chargers line those cells right back up. So think about when those luminaries line up, what the fuck is happening down here? The charge that we're getting. Sorry, just one of those little mini mind blowers for me.
I was playing with people with a diamond and an ice cube at our dinner table last night, having them. If anybody here has not played with a diamond and an ice cube, put your finger on a diamond and push it up against a ice cube, and it will culminate the heat and everything in your body and work like a hot knife through the ice, like unbelievably hot knife through, by having a cold little diamond doing it, just the way it culminates. He's trying to do the exact same. As soon as you put things in order and culminate them, magic happens. Alignments. I know that under and smaller, if you're taking it, again, scaling it down, I know scaling it, just what crystallines, aligning them into crystals and crystal growth means, and what properties it gives them. Celestial alignments make you wonder. There's a lot to wonder about with it.
Does that diamond thing work if it's attached to a gold ring?
Sure. Definitely go try it. And it works well with other crystals too, but it's definitely the lattice structure of a diamond, and that is pretty pure, so it works very, very good with diamonds.
So what, you hold it against an ice cube and it sort of cuts like knife through butter sort of thing?
Yep, and if you touch the diamond, you can hold the ring, it'll go through the ring. You can hold the ring and it will work just fine, but it will really augment it if you touch your finger up to the other side of the diamond. Like if you take, how the girdle edge, the edge of it, put your finger on one edge of it and use the other edge as the knife, and you can do that through a ring. It works just fine.
And what do you think's going on there?
What's going on there is it just an example of the system of a diamond and the crystal lattice structure is super duper organized. It's super culminated. It's an organized structure, and so when you run anything through a diamond or a crystal, and again, you can run it with a piece of quartz, it's taking the energy on the other side and it's culminating it, and when it's putting it back out, it's augmenting it. It's taking it and making it greater than it was at the other end. It's like taking a laser. It's very much like taking
a light. Lasers.
It's like taking a light and turning it into a laser. You're just colonization is that. It's just
like
taking that and
it.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Which is why I want a miroscope out of metal so well instead of plastic, because plastic is not very good at doing that function. It's not organized.
We've got at least 30 watchers. Someone must be able to make a bloody...
Somebody is. I have somebody that's going to. Okay. I said I'm working on getting one made because on your 30 listeners, one of them did pick it up, and one of them... and the fact... Yeah. And they were at Platttoberfest, and I sat down with them and showed them things.
Sweet.
So again, having somebody hands-on and showing them what I'm doing and what, you show them how crystals focus, and then show them how miroscopes work and say, I want to combine this with this, and they're like, oh yeah.
Sorry, I'm just laughing at Josh at the moment.
I was doing both. I was enjoying Cammy and I was enjoying Josh's stretch.
I think Josh needs
Making
fresh
me
coffee.
think about, I know this is a crazy, really occult movie. Probably most people never saw it back in the 80s. The He-Man movie, really bad. Really
that was good.
It was great.
With Dolph? Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, so Billy Barty's character building that key thing with the crystals, dimensional doorways. I mean, we're talking about this. They're showing us these secret things in movies all the time. I mean,
They do.
Think about wands. Where's my wand? I don't have it here. Crystals, you're focusing energy, the shape, the facets, the terminator points on them. It all matters. It all means different things.
It all does. It does, though. It does. I haven't seen the movie, but tell me where they're going. You're right.
Get ready. 21st, get ready.
No, I
Yeah,
know.
Lucas, what does that mean to you, Jupiter and Saturn aligning? What would that mean in astrology?
Here on the solstice, yeah.
Well, there's a bit of confusion with the way the planets are named as well, because their attributes actually say Jupiter is associated with air, Saturn's associated with water, and so there's these other associations or names of where these planets are. It's basically where the sun is at different times of the ecliptic. So there's some confusion between the naming and this sort of modern type astrology as well. So I've looked back into the past, but look, you'd have to get the zodiac and see how all these different energies are actually interacting. And I put it, sort of describe it like you would, say you've got different sounds bouncing off in a room, and they're bouncing off at different directions, and sometimes they'll cancel each other out, sometimes they'll increase the frequencies and things like that. So it's a matter of where these planets are situated that it's going to either enhance certain frequencies or cancel each other out. And that's what you sort of see with the zodiac. When you say place two planets opposite to each other, they're I forget the name of it. It's like a it's basically going to either cancel out or enhance the frequency.
Adjunct or conjunct. Yeah. It's either object or conjunction or the abjunction, right? Go ahead.
Yeah, that's right. And so you'd have to do a proper energetic map to actually see how these things are interacting, and then
associate the harmonics and everything in it too, though. Wouldn't you have to hit the harmonics?
Yeah, well, you're going to either increase these certain harmonics, frequencies, and we know there's harmonics and frequencies coming off the sun, and I was just reading about that the other day. I forget the name of it, but there's also the telluric currents, which we played last time I was on the show, and that's where there's vibrations set up through the earth. So there's definitely an interaction going on, and how that energetically affects us. Well, maybe I don't think our astrology is quite as good as it should be, to tell you the truth.
So looking at some of this hidden history and the reset and the energy and the conjunctions, and thinking about that may be just the resetting of the clock. The clock has reset, and now it's time to let's do this shit again. And that's just part of the whatever happens, the liquefaction of buildings, land, whatever. Is it something they know in advance because, as we know, billionaires are the ones that follow astrology? Or is it that they play with it and fuck with it and try to manipulate it, and that's what throws things into misalignment that causes these crazy things? What do you think on that, Lucas?
Well, do you want to hear my crazy theory?
I'm begging you, please go as far out there as you can.
It's a timer, not a clock.
Okay. So basically, we sort of understand or have looked at enough information to see that the geometry of how these cities are set up is spot on. Where things are aligned, where they put certain buildings, pyramids, and what have you. So as far as I can tell, they're tapping into an energy grid. They're using a grid of some description. And what I think could happen is basically once you've set up this grid and you've created basically an energy movement, if you start drawing too much out of that and create a polarized area, you're going to set up a massive current to be able to start flowing through if you're drawing too much out of that grid. And so what ends up happening is basically you're creating too much charge, too much build-up of charge, and then it just, boom, runs all the way through.
Red line in the fucking engine, basically.
Yeah, basically, it's like putting too much current or something through a computer system. So that's what I think could happen. Just sort of like a worldwide woof, you know.
And we know how carnivorous, maybe, is that the word I'm looking for? That whoever these elite controllers, whatever you want to call them, are that know these things that are hidden from us. Is it a let's hurry up and have as much fun, do as many fucked up things, and get as much power and gold and whatever you want to call it, energy stored for what? For us to fuck it all up so we have to reset this thing? Are they that psycho? I guess they are that fucking psychopath. I don't know why I'm even asking that question. Never mind. We know they are. I mean, or is it truly something that they kind of are fucking with, but there's a bigger cycle that's going to happen regardless? Because I know a lot of the Native American things, Mary Summer Rain, Mother No Eyes, that kind of stuff talks about the cycle of this place and how it doesn't matter. The earth changes are coming. Be ready. You know, when the eagle flies, it's coming. There's no getting around it. Is it more of that and they're just playing with it when they can? I don't know. You know, I don't know if you are getting my question here at all.
Yeah, I just I think they're crazy. Tell you the truth, I just don't think they care. They're just working the system and, you know, trying to maintain control. And this goes back to that financial thing. They're going to try and, you know, maintain, swap out everything, you know, police, all that sort of stuff you were talking about before. I think they're just going to swap out that, try and swap it out, but it's basically going to take on a life of its own, and I think they'll just lose control personally, because they've been playing with the system too long to actually, you know, maintain their position. So I just think they're going to fail.
Lucas. I agree. I think they've, like all governments, have overstepped their reach. I think they've done it too quickly. I think they've been rushed into this. Personally, because of flat Earth is what I think. And too many people, maybe not just flat Earth, but on a scale that too many people have woken up. Mm-hmm. How long have you been into astrology? Have you been in like decades or?
Oh,
there's a follow-up question.
Not really. I wouldn't call myself an astrologer because I haven't. What I did was I looked at it and I got pretty discouraged with it, so I didn't really take it much further. I was.
When did that start? How long ago?
No, probably 4 or 5 years ago, maybe longer. God.
Before flat Earth or not? That was the question really behind it. Did flat Earth change your opinion on astrology, or did it bring it into focus? Did it align? Did it make more sense after flat Earth? That's the question.
It was sort of at the same time. So what I was originally doing was, like I said, I was learning about kinesiology, which is the China, and I was looking at the Chinese meridian system, so the energy points on the body. And at the same time, I was learning about astrology and sort of listening to Santos talk about that sort of stuff. So those two things, I saw that they connected. They had a similar layout, 12 meridians on the body and 12 zodiac signs. And then they had the Chinese meridians also have a time of day that they're active and so on and so forth. So I was trying to reconcile those two. And then as sort of time progressed, the flat earth thing sort of became into my consciousness. And then as further and further I got along into this, understanding this astrology side of things, I got a little bit sick of it, I guess, because it just seemed like hearsay, a lot of it, and it didn't really make sense as a predicting the future and things like that. I just didn't, I wanted a bit more sciencey out of it. So
yeah,
and that's where I moved from there. Then I said, okay, let's ignore everything that I've learned and just look at the zodiac by itself, and let me see what I can put my mind to, and sort of have no bars hold, look at it and say, what is this thing, because I knew it was old and I just didn't want all the rhetoric and things placed on top of it. I just said, okay, what is this thing? Let's have a look at it. And then that's where I found that galvanic cell, because the planets, the order of the planets and the metals that were associated with those planets were in a galvanic, it's called the galvanic series, which is it's a designation of the metals from most anodic to most cathodic. So your most noble metals are your gold and silver and so forth. So as soon as I started looking at that, and because I'd looked at the zodiac and its 4 elements and things like that, I immediately started to place the 4 elements onto the galvanic cell, because I seen the correspondence. And that's where I then started, okay, let's place these things, it's a strange place to start, given that, my research, but it just is what it is.
But it's a good place to start. It's without the preconceptions, without the preconceived ideas, etc. It's a good place to base your foundations on, is things that are tangible, or I don't know.
The patterns overlaying, that always catches me and pulls me into tangent research, because they like patterns overlaying where connections aren't made before, but it makes sense that connections are there. That's that right there again is, I think it's the key to everything, is finding the patterns.
Oh yeah, definitely. I 100% agree, because in my mind, nature wants to be known. It's just a recognition of these patterns and these correspondences, and the Hermetic principles, when you look at them, just that they're overarching ideas that you can apply to everything. So the principle of mind, the principle of vibration, the principle of polarity, gender, as above, so below, that sort of thing. It is real science, in my opinion.
I don't know if I'm alone, but when they say, science is complicated and nature is complicated, I totally disagree. This is what flat
complex,
Earth
but not necessarily complicated. How about that, John?
Possibly, yeah, complex, or at least complex to the point where you have to unlearn shit in order to learn the simple reality of life. I don't find anything in nature that complex.
I think connected would be a better word. That nature is not complex or complicated. It's connected. It's all connected to one another, and we try to isolate and make it complicated, when in fact all we need to is connect the simple pieces that are there, and not make it complicated. But instead, we need to connect them. Connect is not complicating. It's taking the simple pieces and matching them up. It's not
And it's like Lucas says, it's not, nature's not designed to be hidden. It's just designed to be, I mean, it's not designed for anything, but it's not designed to be a conundrum or a puzzle you have to work out. You just have to get rid of the veils that of propaganda and bullshit that we've been laid on since we've been born, and be able to see this thing for what it is. And then it's just boom, poetic. It's perfect.
Yeah, and one of the biggest thing I think that people are missing out on when they're looking at nature, and that they've really haven't been taught about geometry and understanding that, and the quadrivium. Those sort of sciences really tell you how to connect the dots. You know, just like dealing with numbers, you basically, number is relationship. So once you understand how numbers sort of, you know, interact with each other, then you start, you know, getting your head around relationships more than, you know, this sciencey stuff that they've given us, which isn't really, it's just all segregated and it makes no sense.
It is. It's, again, looking at it differently, simplifying it, and looking at it as connected. Those little dots are that are popping out, that you can't help but see when eyes are on all of this. It's like, again, getting rid of all the pre-programming and looking at it for what it is. It's not meant to deceive. Nature isn't meant to deceive, and it doesn't. It creates imperfect perfection.
No, it's just the crap that they give us.
Right.
That they develop this huge aura of intellectual scholarship around it that you have, you know, it's like, how many times have you heard, you know, there's only 4 people on the planet that understand Einstein's theory of relativity or some bullshit like that. It's like, no, they're deliberately trying to deceive us and make it more complicated than it is. There's just no way around it.
Yeah, I was talking. That's funny. I was having this conversation with the JC earlier, and the conversation is that exactly what you're saying. Exactly what you're saying. That they complicate and they just completely over. He did it eloquently. I'm going to step back and see if I can word it as well as he did, because he was brilliant, and I don't want to slander his view on it. But he had a really good take that I'm trying to recall his words right, because he put it so well. Keep on going in and maybe it will come back to me. But he had
it's kind of like the misdirection thing in magic. It's like, oh, look over here, and while they're just doing some fucked up shit over here. That was eloquent, right? That was it, right?
That wasn't it. He did it. That was good, but no, he did it. He did it so well, and I'm trying to reach for the words, and I can't. So we'll move past it, because I don't want to slander this idea, and it was so beautiful. But it's on the same. It's going exactly where you were going with that. And I'm sorry to interrupt and not get the quote right, because that's, you know, sticking us. But it's so important.
Eloquence personified there.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, this is the wine kicking in from last night, you guys. I'm sorry.
I was talking to Walt, but yeah, no, that's cool.
The other thing that they do, and you sort of see this, and, you know, as you go through the space lettuce and things like that, they can't really deviate a hell of a lot from the truth. Otherwise, it becomes too, you know, it just doesn't make sense. You have to have some basis of truth, and it has to fit something. So the other thing that I do when I look at, say, articles and things, you know, I'm sort of in the realization that flat Earth was first, before the globe model. So it's a matter of taking what they say and, you know, being analytical with it, obviously, but also putting it back into the right context. So context makes a huge difference when you start analyzing their space lettuce or whatever it is, you know.
Yeah.
Well, just think about, I'm sorry, go ahead, man.
there's only so much, like, especially if you're dealing with people that are actually doing studies and thinking that the globe is real and all that sort of stuff. So if they're actually doing studies and coming up with details, and using any sort of proper scientific formula, well, they're going to have certain results that are actually legitimate. And so they can't deviate too much away from, the. Do you see what I'm getting at?
Actually, exactly. I mean, if it hadn't been working, if the fake ball shit didn't work in some way, we would all been in school going, or we were in first, second grade, whatever, going upside down on the ball. You're crazy. But they couldn't have convinced us of it, the baffling trickery of it all. Ooh, look at the spin, look at the gravity, wait, 3 million miles closer. Yeah, well, don't worry about that.
I mean, as they say, the best lies are 90% true.
On the truth, right? So if they hadn't been able to figure out a way to make the sky rotation faked into a ball rotation, we wouldn't be doing this. We wouldn't be having this fucking conversation. So,
but the whole thing is too that they're starting with the supposition of it being a ball, and anything they come up with that gives a different result that they call bad data on their part, they throw it away and come up with something else. In other words, you're skewed only to find something that can work with this. Otherwise, it's incoherent and your math isn't beautiful, and then it doesn't work out. So when you start with your preconceived presupposition that you're on a ball, this and that, and have to come up for the math with it again, any math that would lead to it being flat or that you're going to throw out as, oh, this is wrong, let's try again and try a different way to get to this, because again, you're starting with that.
And this is where I see a parallel with this COVID
Thank you, John.
virus bullshit. Is that you have to believe the virus exists.
Well, it's a litmus
in order
test
to go on.
Yeah, it's a litmus test to how much of their bullshit you're actually buying. If you can believe the space lettuce, then by God, you're going to be wearing masks and insisting other people wear their masks. Yeah, I think it's a huge litmus test. I think it was one of the CIA directors had a quote about, when all the Americans believe all the information that we actually feed them is true, then we know we will have succeeded. Or that's a bastardization of a quote, but
but no, it's absolutely right. I mean, it's that's what it is. We have. Sorry, carry on.
Oh no, you go. Sorry.
No, you.
Well, the other thing, like on the other side of that, is like this is why I've been able to find so much information. Maybe I haven't presented it in all my videos so well, but I have found huge amounts of information, and once you put it into the correct format, it fits. And it not only extends to, say, just space lettuce type stuff. It extends into the medical terminology. It corresponds to a lot of different things in different fields as well, because the electrochemical nature of our world, extends into us as well. So we've got these electrochemical processes within the cell, which is called the sodium potassium pump and things like that. And you even get the same ideas of plasma and blood and all that sort of stuff. So there is a correspondence, and you see it weave its way through multiple different scientific jurisdictions. So that's why I've been able to find so much information, because some of this stuff is actually utilized as real operational science, just like the battery. It's real, it's operational. We utilize it every day. So it's there as at least as the foundation. It's operationally correct.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I see a lot of parallels with this COVID bollocks and things like flat Earth. It's like prove germ theory first, and then move on to vaccines, viruses, and isolation and contagion and masks and all this other horse shit you're going on. Just set that foundation in stone first, which they can't do. They haven't been able to do under FOIA requests. They can't do, which leads me to conclude that there is no vaccine virus. It's a made up bullshit thing. But on that note, I shall leave it because it's now 1.11 and
Make a wish, make a wish.
yeah, I've got to go to my bloodletting ceremony or whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
But it's been an awesome conversation, nice, relaxed. I love it when we don't have guests. Not that you're not a guest, Lucas, but
It's
it's
family,
just
you know that.
yeah, exactly, just chilling out. So yeah,
good.
guys, have a good week, and I'll catch up with you shortly.
All right, John, you have a great rest
Take
of your
care, John Savage, for the first time.
As we're doing leaves, and I was nodding in my chair a bit there, hence why I'd gone a bit quiet. I'm gonna go head off to bed and listen to you guys till I head off into snoozy land. It's been a pleasure, Lucas. Nice to catch up with you again, mate. And yeah, if I don't make it all the way through, because I assume you guys are going to go on for a bit, I shall enjoy listening to the rest of this tomorrow afternoon. So yeah, night everyone. Yeah, God bless.
Take care, Ad.
Night, Ed.
Too
You
easy.
too.
See ya.
Night, Mr. Meakin.
Thank you, sir. Oh, the last piece of the puzzle. I showed you the picture. I will start the build
Yes.
tomorrow, Adam.
Yeah, I know. I've got my bank card ready in case that shit's crap.
Well, I'll let you know. I'll let you know if it goes out immediately. We'll start from there. All right. Thank you.
I'm dreading to see that Skype ping. All right, guys. Love you all. See you later. Bye.
Love you, Ed. I'll ring you when I get
See
to
ya.
Amazon delivery.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, defo. Yeah.
Look at that, Liz. Party poopers in the UK just can't hang.
Well, I'm obviously going to be lurking.
Look, you already
right?
said goodnight. You
Yeah.
be quiet. Go
No, we
away.
knew that he's still here.
I'm going to be lurking. I just can't connect my brain to my mouth anymore. There's not enough mitigation I can do to do that. Okay, so bear with it.
Well, that hasn't stopped me tonight.
Never stops me.
You drank last night, not even tonight.
I know, it's the
Pale the
afterglow.
dog. No, I'm just messing.
That's what I'm saying. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, I hardly ever drink, and I didn't throw up, so I might still be drunk. I mean, there's always that possibility because I didn't get sick.
I'm pretty sure
So-
Zach was this morning. Still a little drunk.
That was pretty good. Zach.
Put the turpentine down. Put the turpentine.
Yeah, I
down.
definitely was still feeling pretty good this morning. For sure.
I quite
Well-
enjoyed y'all's creep song on the Facebook when I posted our show this morning. Sorry, there's a mosquito got in.
No, see, weren't those great? Did you see a couple of those? I thought that would be
I watched
great
a few.
to play.
I
Yeah.
watched a few. I saw an awesome table shot of the family there. Definitely sending lots of love. Wishing I was there.
I wish you were here too. We really it was so nice to get together, and again, I missed everybody. I want especially Liz. Liz, I want you at my dinner table.
Oh man, I definitely want to sit down to eat with you guys all at once. When I get our gathering place together, it will happen.
Well, I'm being the oldest in the bunch. I'm going to take advantage. I usually don't pull the old card, but I'd like to. I'm going to say I'm old and decrepit, and everybody needs to move out by me because I just went through the moving thing, and I'm not going to be moving
So you're
again.
done. You're settled.
I'm
now.
done. I'm
Good,
settled.
right?
I'm done. Now,
Here-
Josh already said that was just a temporary, like, stopgap place, and he's
is.
not attached to his house. So I haven't given up on moving Josh out this way, but I'm really working on getting everybody out in the Carolina area and this big radius around, because my life is happier that way, and shouldn't it all be about me?
Sounds good to me, Mother Abigail. Shout out to all the Stan fans.
No, I do like being around other flat earthers, and it's just nice. It's just nice to have kindred soul in the
Well, trust me, the call you guys are putting out is quite strong, equally as strong as the call Mother Abigail was sending out to the good people. So I don't know who the Randall flag is right now, but right now I do know who the good team is.
Let's go, good team. And I have to again stay awake because I'm working on a couple hours of sleep for the last couple nights. And tomorrow, we have a big day tomorrow, Zach. Why don't you tell us what we're going to be doing?
We are heading to what town? I'm not even sure. Columbia. To the flea market down there to hang out with that flat fellow, Tommy, and Dr. La, and Karen B will be there, along with Ted and Brian Stavely. Should be fun. Cammie and I are going to take some of our toys and gadgets and let people play with them a little bit.
Oh, you got a pretty big crew.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Yeah, they usually have at least 5 or 6 people out there with them, handing out flyers and stuff like that. He gives away 6-hour DVDs for free, just hands them out. It might be
That's nice.
4 hours. Yeah, he's a great guy. He's got 6
It's like
iPads.
Lord of the Rings style, isn't it? You know, just epic.
Yeah, he's got 6 iPads set up on this platform to where people can watch videos. You just touch on them and watch. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait to get down there.
Just short little sweet videos that give you the nuts and bolts.
Exactly. Ways to answer the easy questions or the questions that always occur every single time. How could the boat's going over the horizon? Everybody wants to know about that. He has it all ready to set up and do this. I have not really had as much, I think I met Tommy at Plattoberfest, but I didn't have time with him. I want to have time with him because he's one of the people I admire that he does street activism, but he does street activism in a very educational style. So if I was focusing where I do focus on research and that, and I'm a very quiet person, but if I was going to, and I try to talk to everybody one-on-one that I can, not usually in a group, but when I go places, I'll reach out. If somebody is warm at all to me, I'll bring it up and try to start a warm conversation. So I do one-on-one flat smacking as opposed to group, and I live little carts and things like that other places. But as far as the big activists and that, I admire a lot of them. A lot of them are different preacher styles. Everybody's got their own style. But from what I've seen from Tommy, it's like a laid-back educational style. So I'm interested to go out with this group because I think if I was setting it up, that's probably this. Again, it feels most akin and most natural to me, as opposed to I don't know if I could get up with the megaphone and shout people that. You know what I mean? Different styles, just a way of doing it where people approach you and you can teach them things. It's just your own comfort zone. And, we push our comfort zone. Me being on with a pair of headsets on and being on the show is like my way of pushing the comfort zone. And I do it in a lot of different areas, but everybody's got their own skill and level. And so it's going to be fun to go out with a group of activists and see that for whatever your style is, there's a way to make it work. And it's not necessarily better or worse. We need them all. I mean, they appeal to different people. So
well, if like the megaphone thing, I just don't know how. If someone's yelling at me with a megaphone, I don't know how well I would respond to that.
I think when I say what our style is, we tend to say, same here. I do not respond well at all to people with yelling at megaphones or telling me, I hate that. I admire the ones in the flat Earth community that do it because they hit a group of people. That's how some people learn. I'm not one of them, so I like it. So that's what I mean is I like it. There's some low key and different ways and styles. And it's like, well, that's not my way really, but because it's not my way because you think if you're trying to get yourself, that's usually when it comes down to. If you're going to try to get somebody to be interested and listen, you imagine yourself in the situation, and if the style is something that's like, oh God, I would never do that, you hesitate to do it that way because you're like, God, I would never react to it. And then you remember, oh, that's right. It's not just me. I fell into that problem earlier today. You have to appeal to every different kind of crowd. So we need them all. Right. We need them all. And the megaphone, yeah. And you're right, the megaphone, that was the same thing with me. It would be something that would I worked in the middle of downtown Denver, and that's for 30 years on the 16th and Champa corner. And every Friday afternoon, the people would come out with their megaphones about how we're gonna burn in hell and need to change and da 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 da. And a lot of the times I had an old building that you could open the windows on the 3rd floor, and I'd have to close my window and engage fans. It pissed me off. It's like, God, just shut the fuck, shut up. And so it's hard approaching people and that type of thing when you have such a personal memory of it being like annoying. And so again, you step back and say, but some people, they're out there every week because a lot of people gather around them and do take the information. So
Yeah.
so
Well,
there's
if-
got to be
if it-
something to it.
Yeah, if it works, it works.
Yeah, so you're not going to be getting that big megaphone on and yelling at people either, Lucas, or
Well, there's only 1,000 people in my town, and I don't know if they'd appreciate it that much. They'd all know where I'm from, and yeah. But I do it subtly if I can.
I'd like to see a video though of you trying it. Would like rouse up the area a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. Just go down the street. Yeah. Oh
So-
well, you never know.
So on a hot topic, the rest of the panel here, Josh, what are your thoughts on that, on the different ways that we do activism, and what do you like, or what would, if you were learning on it from somebody on the street, what would get your attention? What would make you stop? Walt, you're up.
Girls.
Boobies. I like boobies.
Boobies.
Yeah, boobies. No, I don't know, man. Move to somebody else. Let me marinate a moment.
Ponder that. Because by doing activism and that, people saying, again, why don't you do it more? And yet it is fun. I know, Zach, you were surprised that you liked activism so much and talking to people. You were shocked when you went out and did it. I've never really gone out in a
I
group
was
like you
real
have yet.
nervous to start. But once you get going, it's really just like sitting around like we're doing and talking to a new person. Well, when I went, I also had 3-4 other people there with me, and that helps a lot too.
And if
I've
you do
never
it,
gone out like Joshua, Authentic Intent, and just sat there by myself and be like, hey, Earth's flat.
Right. See,
What do
that's
you
the
think about
thing I'm
that?
marinating on myself. Is it depends on a lot on the situation. Being in a group of people that you feel protected with, I guess. Safety in numbers.
Yeah, I had Jack and Joshua and
It's a little
Scuba
different
and,
Yeah.
very outspoken. I got to be me, just quiet Zach, actually, I'd throw in little scientific, all the physics, the actual physics.
Right.
And
And
then
I
people
guess
started
because-
like, huh.
I guess
Scratching
because
their
I've always
chins.
done that thing where it's like this, where it's always been friends that I will sit down and have these conversations with, or like even people that I became friends with at work, especially at the casino, where we would literally group up, meet up, and have conversations at that time about, of course, end of the world coming up, 99, Y2K, aliens, whatever we were into at the time, but it was still not what most people were meeting up at their house. They're all drinking beer and watching sports ball. We're talking about, surviving what's coming kind of stuff. So having done it in that kind of small, intimate group, this always felt a more natural way to do it. Plant quiet, thoughtful seeds rather than, hey, it's all a lie. That's work. That works. That does slap people away. But like you were saying, Lucas, I don't know. That's just, it does bristle me at times too. So I don't know. It depends on the situation. That's called for at times. It's needed at times and does work at times, as we've seen.
right? And with
But
Zach
ask
even,
Adam's balls, it also can get you in a bind sometimes.
Zach, I know that like he's the quiet one in the bunch, but bringing people in to talk to, and again the loud megaphones. I think it takes all kinds. I'm trying to think of different activisms. So I'd say some of the most successful ones, or ones I felt best about or proud, are weird situations that just became natural openings. Like, so for instance, we were traveling to Canada and I smoke, so you can't smoke in the hotel room. So at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning, I wanted a cigarette. So I went down to the lobby, and of course you have the night manager. They're bored stiff. And it's like, no, I just came down for a cigarette. And he's like, oh, really? You know, where are you from or whatever? And I smoke too. You care if I come out? You know, we'll be right here up in front. And it's like, no, that's great. So it's somebody that wants to talk and it's bored. And then they open up with like, well, what are you doing? Why are you traveling through? And that was like an easy one. They wanted to, you know, you find these weird situations, but that's again, it's weird. I find little niches like that for people to talk to on strangers. So I know I have like the little town of Shelby up in Montana looking, because I got the manager and then he pulled other people in, the other employees, and thought it was really cool and that. So I've had some really neat experiences with weird flat smacking, but they're weird. Again, 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning at the hotel lobby, or, you know, things like that are just weird.
Situational flat smacking. That's situational flat smacking.
Right. So that's what I do, is situational, where it opens up and somebody looks bored and they want to talk. It's like, oh yeah, we'll talk. You can talk to me, you think I'm cute or whatever, or if somebody now, if a guy flirts and wants to talk and have a conversation, to me, it's a good opportunity to explain to them about flat Earth, and it plants that seed in this might, you know, a really, really good way, and also makes them think twice on hitting on strange women. So I think I'm killing, you know.
Dude, I hit on this chick. She's a flat earther. Holy shit.
Holy shit. Not gonna hit on women anymore.
I got a question. You know, how much do you think the flat Earth is still growing? Is it has it sort of hit its peak, or what do you think's happening?
No, I think it's getting huge.
Yeah.
When I saw those two people on Flat Earth Fockers feed that were from Lafayette, a town I frequent quite often, and have kind of done some very tiny, small flat smacking at some of the street things, the art walks and the art meetups. Because my niece, we talked about her this morning on the show, she's an amazing artist and does a lot of shows there downtown. So it puts me in a lot of situations where there are people who I know have a different mindset, are a bit more open to things. I'll see a NASA shirt, I'll see a whatever, and it'll start a small conversation. Or they'll see my NASA Live shirt, they'll start a big conversation, whatever. So yeah, those kind of situations, situational flat smacking. Man, this is the thing. Hashtag situational flat smacking. All right, I'll shut up.
No, that's perfect. That's exactly, and I think it's a good one. I know that, like, even here where we are here, we've met, you know, because we have a river, and some people walk the river, and it goes on to, it doesn't happen very often, but we had somebody on the back of our property just admiring the river, and this person belonged in the river, you know, with the river. You know, it's just a good person. And we're talking to him, letting him know that, hey, you know, it's private property, and B, you're welcome on it. You belong here. You're that cool. There's something about it. But he was a young man. How old is he, Zach?
I think he's 19.
19?
Yeah.
And all of his friends and that, he said, like, yeah, when B.O.B. was talking about flat Earth and this and that, he's not a flat earther, but he's not shocked, shunned, and thinks it should be looked into more. And I get that feeling a lot from the younger generation. It's the kids. How would you explain it, Zach?
I didn't really talk to him too much about it. We haven't really spoken too much about flat Earth. I just mentioned it once, but I was just talking about Flattoberfest, about like-minded people, and if he wanted to go to a place where there was a bunch of them, if that would be a place to go check out.
Situational again. I think that's it, Lucas. I think it's growing. I think it's growing. Even like I said, there were those two people on Flat Earth Fockers thing from Lafayette where I didn't think they were that common. I definitely get the oh, you're crazy lots, but not as much as I used to. And even the people that used to go, oh, I'm not even going to talk about that, are now asking me questions, or sending me the stories and going, this can't be real. The mini moon crap that just happened. Somebody mentioned the other night or last night at Thanksgiving and like, what is this about? How can we have all these moons, but nobody knew about them? And I just kind of, interesting, huh? So it's definitely growing, and the thought of the fakery of it all, I think, is helping. That they better hurry up and get their CGI, the next level AR, whatever the fuck they're going to do to because it's falling apart. I see it growing. That's how it looks to me.
So back when
yeah, go. Sorry.
I was just going to say, back when I decided to call in here to the local radio station, back when Neil deGrasse dropped the mic in response to B.O.B., it was one of those things that really was on the forefront of my mind, was sort of, how do I get this information across? And that was the whole point of the call, was just to kind of drop in, say, look, research it yourself, hashtag test it. Look, don't just laugh it off. There's more to it here than what you think there is. And that was the whole point. Get in, get out. And that was going to be it. Plant the seed and bounce. But
little did you know.
Little did I know. So it really had to be a thing. So how do I make the information that I'm bringing across palatable? How do I get people to pay attention to it or even respond to it? And again, there's a whole lot of people that didn't, because it was just too far outside of their frame of reference. But the only thing I could think to come up with was really sort of the way I wanted to be as a parent, which was just sort of set an example. So, limit the wild claims, things that I couldn't prove. When it's my opinion, make sure people know it's my opinion. Be understanding and try to be thoughtful and remember what it was like when I thought it was a ball. It was first presented with this information. And just try to keep it light and stay lighthearted and not let their resistance trigger you. So then, to answer the question, do I think the flat earth is still growing? Having been into the studio a couple dozen times, maybe even 3 dozen times as many. There was a story not too long ago about the guy who was called on a baseball game, outed half of the St. Louis Cardinals, which included their most intelligent player, he said, as people that don't think they live on a spinny space ball. Maybe it's pure coincidence that I go on that show as a flat earther over 30 times, 32, maybe 37. I forget exactly what the number is. There's a list of the shows I've got saved here somewhere. But then for half of the professional baseball team in St. Louis, just 3-4 years later, half of them are flat earthers. Yeah, I would say it's growing. I would say there is still traction. I think there is enough content and there is enough, what's the word I'm looking for?
Well, yeah, Flattoberfest, it was easily 60% of the people that was their first event they've ever been to, meetup at all, gathering type thing about flat earth.
Yeah, that's a quite large percentage.
Yeah, when they raised their hands, it was well over half the room. My jaw just dropped. I was like, whoa, that's wild.
And it's like with talking with Mitchell down by the river, that it's a few years ago on the seed planting. In other words, those seeds that have been planted, even the ones that didn't even know they were being exposed to the seeds. So this happened in the background, and the kids, I mean, it would have happened how many years ago where he was like 16, 15, 16, and taking the flat earth. It was just something he was hearing in the background. I think you have a lot of that. It's not as foreign of an idea. So people that are, by the way, I did talk to him about flat earth, even though you just had a couple conversations, and he's going to be wearing a globe. Next time you see him, I bet he's wearing a Globebuster shirt. So going through the neighborhood for his friends, because he wanted a Globebuster shirt, and he was sorry he didn't make Flattoberfest after talking about us and finding out really what it was about. But he said, no, his friends not they're aware of it. They haven't looked into it all of that much. But yeah, it was something B.O.B. was. It was something that was familiar. So if anything, it was something to reach back. And now while you're not trusting things, it's a different reaction I'm getting on flat earth. I feel like the momentum is especially picking up now, because I think all of those little seeds that we planted 4 or 5 years ago that you planted and did that, it's in the back of their mind. That was the shock factor there, where you have the angry response. Now hitting on this other wave, people are more accepting to it now with what's going on with the government and that. I really feel it's growing quietly and stealthily, and I almost feel that a lot of the COVID in that. And
a lot of those people would be, you know, pretty knowledgeable now on most of the questions asked as well, rather than being, because there is so much material and videos, short little videos, descriptive videos on certain topics that cover the gamut. I mean, they'd have a response for nearly everything, especially if they've been around it even for a couple of years, you know.
Yeah, the whole yeah, it's changed. We have the answers now for so many things. It's so many people have it down. It's not like there's all that much. I mean, we don't need to go take 100. I like that people go and do it, or taking pictures every day of things we shouldn't see. But I mean, we've broken it down to how optics work and this and that. And yeah, they have nothing anymore. If you ever watch Nathan Oakley's chats, it's so apparent. These guys, they have nothing to argue about anymore. All their arguments they're a joke. Like Adam was saying, Rumpus, they have nothing. It's good fun to sit there, you know, pick on the baller.
Yeah.
I do need to get back over there. It's been a hot minute since I've been able to catch him live.
No doubt.
Sounds like a show segment, doesn't it? Pick on the baller.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like these guys don't deserve it. Straight trolls, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And yeah, it's so funny now because they have nothing. And like Adam was saying in the pre-show, you can just let them walk right into it now. You can guide them and be like, yep, go on, keep talking. And then you drop the bomb question. And they're just like, you're an idiot, you're a moron, blah, blah. All the ad homs come out and all that stuff. Yeah, it's different now. There's so many things that have been explained that they really don't have many arguments left anymore. Even crazy arguments, you know, like that there has to be some type of container. I mean, they've pretty much nailed. Nobody brings that up anymore. You know, the whole
just
gravity
just
thing
keep
doesn't
thinning
work.
out the atmosphere and spreading it further and further away.
Oh, did you hear what happened, Walt? Yeah, we talked about it, I think. Did we talk about it this morning on the show? That we're 2,000 light years closer to the black hole at the center of the Milky Way. And instead of moving 136 miles a second, we're moving 144. Yeah, they figured it all out.
Why not?
Science was wrong again.
Well, good thing that doesn't change anything else.
Yeah, like everything.
Well, there is that.
That's the worst part. Most people don't realize when they change things like this, it changes everything. Like when they change the size of the sun. Okay, does that mean that all these things are, you know, different distances now? Because I thought you've sent probes to Saturn or where Jupiter and Venus, and I thought you knew all these distances and had them down. How could all of a sudden the sun now change sizes? That doesn't make sense.
No.
so did it get 2,000 light years closer or further away?
Closer.
So it got closer. So is the infinite pull of gravity stronger? So should we be pulled away off of the planet because of this change?
Well, no, I
Because
think that's why we're moving faster.
Oh, is that why we're moving fast?
Yeah.
We're moving
But-
in on a spinning thing rather than what you would think flinging out. Yeah, you do the opposite. Yeah.
But if it's the infinite well of gravity is closer and we're not in it, though, wouldn't it be trying to suck us? But that is why we're moving faster, is to get. I'm sorry, that's just
Well, that makes us
we can circle around this one and we won't.
2,000 light years older than we thought we were, right?
And then we're going to have to get into the size of it, or even distancing, because remember, our sun is 8 light minutes away, and we know what they say it does in those 8 light minutes. So whatever the size of this thing has to, for the way for us to pick up and observe it, change a little bit over those 2,000 light years, not minutes, but oh well. Again, the whole concept of it all, and that we all like believed it, and all of these things are just the perfect distance away in different hundreds of thousand, or 1,000 light years, 100,000 light years, 400,000 light years, all appear, but big enough just to compensate and still all be like remarkably all homogeneous in the sky overall. We don't have any ones that were close by that were bigger. And I mean, you would just by their factor, you would have all different, every echoing type of size going all around. You would have to.
Oh, it's funny. And they say the way they were able to do this, they had 4 giant telescopes set up around Japan. And the theoretical focusing power that these things have. Now they use the word theoretical for a reason, I'm sure. But they said they could look at a United States penny sitting on the moon. No joke. It's in that article I shared in the chat. But they use the word theoretical. So it's like, okay, we'll point these fuckers at the moon then. Let's see the moon landing. Where's the flag and the rover and all the shit they left up there? Shouldn't that stuff? If you can look at a penny, then you should be able to look at a rover. But then they use the words theoretical. So it's like, okay, well, what does that mean? And I didn't feel like reading any more of it because I knew it was all bullshit. So what's the point? But yeah, I got a kick out of that. They could see a penny on the moon, theoretically. So yep, science was wrong again. All this stuff that they said, I thought, didn't Neil deGrasse Tyson say that science is right, whether you like it or not? But then
I
now
heard
all
him.
the science was
was
wrong again somehow.
Yeah, science is truth, or science is right, whether you believe in it or not. It's because it's just the truth. Never changes.
And I
Things
mean,
don't move.
really, that is true.
True.
but
It was
what
true
he is
yesterday,
doing
and
is
what
not science,
Yeah, how can
Yeah,
you
right.
say that these changes 2,000 light years in distance is, which one is true, science yesterday or science today? That's their big problem with science, is which day do we pick science to be true? Because I don't know, I haven't done it in a while, but we can go to PhysOrg, and PhysOrg is just the Space Lettuce headquarters.
Well,
Space
they're
gravy.
they're not using science
They're not
No,
yet.
not at all.
No, that's
Yeah.
the thing. So you
So
can
his
say that all
statement
he wants.
is true. Yeah, his
Yeah,
statement's
exactly.
true. But
Yeah, it's,
yeah, he's not practicing science. so.
Yeah. We know what Cami thinks of science. Science can't even follow the rules of grammar, let alone other rules on itself. It can't even do the I before E except after C part right. And then we put it in charge of solving all of our problems. Come on, it doesn't even know how to use grammar. Seriously. You guys haven't given that any thought, or?
I've never even thought about that. But there's that
That's
C
funny.
there, and why isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. We've
Wow.
lost Josh or Zach now. We've lost him. He's going to be pondering that there is the I before E, but it's after the C in science because, again, it doesn't know how to follow the laws of grammar. So, but it should be in charge of figuring out how far away these stars are. They never invite me on the debate shows. I wonder why.
That's so silly.
Yeah, because I'd go up into rants of silliness.
I was determined to break it out just because of that story, Zach. I knew it was around here somewhere. It's just didn't survive the move. It's there. It just needs a little
I love the bell.
reshaping.
You'll get it back in tune.
Josh, not Josh, Zach, I want to get you drunk again so you sing for me more. So he sings for me when he's sober, but that was fun. Something about drunk singing that's a little bit better, a little bit more relaxed. We had the dogs singing really good last night.
Yeah, that was a good time. For sure.
My apologies for being a bit distracted. I am fixing show descriptions and whatnot.
Oh, I was sitting there.
Here I have
coughing.
Lucas's channel and things in the description, just doing stuff that I usually try to wrap up before we leave because I feel that we're probably going to wind this up here in another 13 minutes or so. Unless you guys are
You got
wanting
it
to
down to
join.
exact.
I just looked at it. It's almost 8 here, and I know I'm getting hungry, and you guys probably are getting
Yeah,
a
I
bit
heard the
sleepy there.
dead air, and part of me wanted to listen to my husband that says never have dead air, talk, and the other part of me was thinking of my Iron Realm friends that I'm with, and
Yeah, we
who
love that.
can make the longest space without talking. Can you stand it? And I was like, I can stand it. I can not talk. I can do it. So I went. I'm with the guys. I went for going quiet. Let's be bad radio.
Well, I think it speaks to the safe space that we've tried to create here in sort of that effort of being able to exchange ideas and openly discuss things that we may not want to discuss out in open public or amongst certain company. So we want to be able to create that safe space and realize that, no matter how wackadoo you may think your ideas are, it's okay to come here and tell us about what you think may be the cases to what's going on. It doesn't really matter because we're here to listen and we're here to just say, hey, cool, whatever. It doesn't really matter. We just like talking to people, love hanging out with people.
Are you trying to make Lucas feel real special here? Like, no, because we don't think you're.
I feel special.
No, truly. I mean, we want you not to feel like you're pressured to perform or present some kind of amazing, mind-blowing,
I was laughing because I don't think his ideas are wackadoo. I think they're great.
Cammy does that just naturally. Cammy breaks my brain almost every time we get into a discussion, and you guys have missed so much off the air brain breakers that we'll figure out a way to share it with you guys at some point, hopefully. But definitely, that's really truly part of it. Is this should just feel like you're hanging out with friends, and if everybody gets quiet to take a sip or change their consciousness or whatever they're doing, that's fine.
Well, I could rant if you like.
There you go. I keep telling you. There you go.
I need some questions. Well, what do you guys want to know about? That's the thing, I can go, but I need a little kicker at the start.
That jumping off point.
Yeah. I don't know. That's the thing.
Yeah,
with
we can't.
I can't. Here, I'll do it for him. Solomon's Temple. Solomon's Temple is a battery. What did you think about that? Because when I looked at it, and I have no battery knowledge, but when I looked at the schematics on Solomon's Temple, it looked like it was a battery. It looked literally like a battery. Tell me, do you know what I'm talking about? Do you need to see this picture? Do I need to bring it up for you?
No, I've seen it. Did you see I think it was John Levi's last video, he was talking about bricks acting as a capacitor. And that was super interesting. I mean, these buildings are all built with stunning geometry. And when you're at that higher level, I mean, you're doing some serious you're at a really, really high level of understanding about the world if you're applying that level of geometry to stone. I mean, it's unbelievable. So, to me, it's fairly obvious they had technology that surpassed ours for sure. And the design within the buildings themselves to bring in these, whether it be frequencies, whether it be electricity or whatever they were using, it was just inbuilt. So, and whether the atmosphere, like I was explaining before, whether something went wrong, whether the atmosphere actually changed and there's not as much charge getting around. So, does the atmosphere change like that where, that periods of time where you're increasing in charge or decreasing in charge? And what does that amount of electricity all around us do to us as a species as well? So, what's interesting, I seen a video a little while ago where they basically were growing plants and fish in a higher charged area, and these things were sort of reverting into some ancient species and things like that. So there's something could be said for given the optimal environment, how much things can actually change, and how much we ourselves could increase our consciousness, increase our way of operating. And personally, I think a lot of the problems we have is that we've got this really, really high science that's been left over, and we just don't know how to approach it, don't know how to handle it, and don't understand it. And we've got these rudimentary systems that a few of these people have basically taken some of the information and worked out how to make benefit themselves. And so we're at a point now where it's sort of, super amounts of corruption at all levels. So, that's my little rant. Okay, go.
Lucas rant, love it. Well, man, I think, I don't know. I've dealt with so many things before Flat Earth that unfortunately showed me some of the control mechanisms and the darker sides of things. That was part of what got me out of the UFO research, was all the darkness I kept finding there. But that was what led me there in the first place, was trying to figure out what was going on in my life with my family. So knowing that it's very possible that the level of control we're under is vastly more than we can conceive of, I don't put it past them to have created this structural system to treat us exactly like Martin, John, Wood Nichols all keep talking about, that this structural buildings, these things we are boxed into, are what keep us limited, what keep our power down, what keep us from being the fucking powerful beings we are, that we came here to be. That it's not only a grid of energy to use for them in this place, but it's also a place to use us for energy, to feed off of us, to create fear mechanisms, Monsters Incorporated, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Please run with that, sir. I can't wait.
Yeah, look, when I just see the level that these older buildings and the geometry and having some idea of the geometry that they applied to them and the mathematics, that comes from a high place. That comes from, you can't be non-truthful with mathematics, that they are what it is, and same with geometry, it is what it is.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. The freaking the Antiquitech, the marvelous things, the Solomon battery, those exactly are wondrous. But look around at most of the boxes people are stuck in now.
Yeah, I see
That's
what you
I was
mean.
referring.
Yeah.
I guess I
and it's basically
differentiated it better, I guess.
Yeah, and they've taken that knowledge and they sort of flaunt it, by having the 33 and the showing the Eye of Providence and things like that. All that stuff has mathematical codings and geometry in it. Same with the Eye of Providence. How you actually construct that figure is through geometry, and they flaunt it. And they look, we've got all the science, and we've put you in a little crappy box, and and taken the free energy and taken all those things that we were talking about before.
Right.
And even to extend, if you have a look at the past, how they used to calculate, but basically what I was getting at earlier was that the flat Earth model came beforehand, before the globe, right? Well, they took all the harmonics and the numbers and the way that our nature works in this, beautiful sky clock fashion. They took all these numbers and then they just manipulated them using pretty much the same numbers, but just giving a different sort of ratio in a sense. And so you still get all these harmonic numbers with the spherical model. So it's really interesting once you start looking at it. There was a really, really nice system of applying geometry to buildings, to the way we calculate the sky, all these different things, and it was a legitimate science. And you can see it's a legitimate science. I mean, you just have to look at a flower, and you can say, well, look at how it actually unfolds, and so it's there in nature, and it's right there for you to see it. It's just unfortunate that things have been taken so far out of context that we're floundering in the dark, and then they can pull these things like COVID and things. They can pull them off to some degree, and no one bats an eyelid to, generally, obviously. What do you think of that?
I like that actually a lot. And then, unfortunately, as you say, nobody batting an eye leads back to this fucking thing and this thing and all of that we're trying to use against them, that unfortunately just has so much control on so many people's everything. I mean, everything. I watched it yesterday during the fun festivities. It just kept rearing its head. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, where'd you get that thought? Off TV? It's just, and I'm as guilty as the rest of them, chatting about it a moment ago with Kelly and Chad about phones and hating them and wanting to get a different one, but don't want one. And it's a freaking catch-22 for damn sure.
Like if you, the other thing is, like, if you look at the, say, Masonic drawing boards, they'll have those two pillars, Jacob and Boaz.
Yeah.
And
Masonic tracing board.
Yeah, exactly. And you have the squares down the bottom. Well, if you put that in the framework of a battery, it's exactly the same thing. What's one of the most interesting concepts that I've found was the idea of the trinity. And that's where you have the two poles, and you have two opposite energies in a sense, and it's that extreme that creates the energy. But you also have a third thing that sort of sits above it, and that's the trinity point that comes out of the two opposites, and that's that midway balance point. And esoterically, they've given these things personifications, but we have the same thing within us. So we have our two hands, and then our bodies are polarized, and then we have the spine, right? So it's that spinal column that gives us balance. And nature is always trying to find swishing between the two polarities and trying to find that balance point. And that's where people have to get to as well in their own minds. They have to try and get back to that balance point between the polarities. and understand that that trinity is in operation, because it's the same with politics. They give you one side, the one wing and the left wing and the right wing, and then but they still control. It's that Hegelian dialectic, but that trinity actually exists everywhere in nature. And once we understand these polarities, we can apply it to everything we see. And these people that, seek to control us, they lose their control because we understand the trinity. And I think that's a really important concept that I've come across just by looking at the battery, actually.
Now, magnetically, your trinity, it's right there. It overlays, the pattern overlays. You have your two poles, like on the edges, that creates the center quadrupole in the center magnetically. But your center, and so you would have your Father and your Son pole on the outside. The Holy Ghost or the Holy Spirit would be the non-existent, the real pole, the quadrupole in the center that's created out of by the Father and the Son. In other words, without the two pillars create the vortex. So magnetically, you get the quadrupole or Holy Spirit in the middle, created by the two pillars. So again, it just overlays with your work. They're like patterns that you can overlay.
Yeah,
So
and the same thing, you can say do two circles and they intersect each other, and you have the vesica. The vesica is, and then you have, say, red and blue light, and then you've got the green light, which is that balance point in the center. In older esoteric sort of mythologies and stuff, this was Hermetics. Hermes, he holds the staff, the caduceus, with the two snakes, and then you've got the center pole. So it's a representation of the spine. But he was that central point, and you'll see in a lot of the old drawings as well, you'll have the sun, the moon, and then you'll have this idea of Mercury in the middle. So that Mercury point is actually the balance point between the two. So it's showing that they're joined together. So just some interesting things. I just thought I'd share them.
And I'm going to throw out an interesting one on you just because it's such a fun tidbit. And I imagine you've come across it, but if you haven't, I want you to look into it, and I can find you the scientist if you need to. I just have to think on it a minute. But a scientist did do tests on crystal growth under different conditions. And one of the neat things that he found is Mercury will actually form and grow faster when Mercury is in alignment above it. So the different elements grow quicker under different, things, just like you have, plants and sunlight and daylight and things like that. The elements and the rocks and the mineral growth and that are all very, very much affected by the celestial alignment. And he was finding that different elements grew differently under the different alignments going, and if you did litmus tests and did it, if you grew under the same conditions with Mercury in alignment over it and without it in alignment, it's growing quicker. They did daylight, nighttime, indoors, out, all the different things, and he put planets in that in the mix, and it blew his mind that Mercury matched, and Mercury will grow quicker when Mercury is there. So your elements, there might be some connections there too with your names too.
Yeah, that's interesting. And the other way that I came across this, I was aware of Hermetics, which is Hermes is the equivalent of the Roman god Mercury. So, but there are many different types. Like if you would look at Hindu, you would see that that's Krishna would be the equivalent in that terminology, or Vishnu, and it really just comes back to this idea of one. You can imagine the what's it called, basically, if you just think of one pole is the creative side and the other pole is the destroying side, and it basically what the destroying side is doing is making room for the creative side to move to. So it's an interesting way of putting those two sort of creative and destructive correspondences to it. But getting back to Mercury, it also breaks down, and the reason I was looking at it was when I was overlaying the alchemical type periodic table, if you will. It had the 4 elements, and then it had the 3 substances. The 3 substances were salt, mercury, and sulfur. So in the galvanic cell, you actually have the salts and the sulfates. And then I was sort of like, oh, well, where's mercury? You know, I was, where's this third thing? And if you look at the word, the breakdown etymology of mercury, it actually becomes water mix. So it can be also described as an electrolyte. So, I sort of separate the idea of the metal mercury and the electrolyte version of it, which is this salt water mix of ionic. Yeah.
Very, very. I'm thinking. I'm gonna be thinking about that one for a few days on just based on word origin. Very cool.
Yeah, it's just really interesting to think of it in those terms, because a lot of the time also you're talking about Mercury as the caduceus or the spinal column. You also have this type of electrolyte or salt water through the spinal column and around the brain as well. So there is a correspondence in that way.
I think there's a lot of, again, the correspondence and overlappings. I've got a weird one for you, because with the magnetic layout and the way that it looks like my constructive pole is under Australia, and my destructive pole on your method would be between South America and Africa. But what it always made me when I looked at the map, it would bring back weird, you know how you get weird visuals and weird things that overlap from nowhere. I remember learning about in Israel with like the Messiah story, that he's supposed to descend down and then walk through the Golden Gates, you know, and do this, but because of the lineage in that, he would not be able to be around dead bodies. And so supposedly the Arabs they closed off the wall and built a cemetery to block the way, or, you know, to do it. And that image always came in that with Australia when they opened it up, because I think it's by the good pull where they've tried to move prisoners and make it a prison.
Mm-hmm.
Like a throwaway land. It's like they took this area that's next to goodness to me and tried to do ways to, I saw it as like almost like putting a cemetery in front of the Golden Gate or whatever. You can't fool prophecy or what's supposed to happen. But to me, Australia, I think it's in a really wonderful place, and I think living there and the goodness, I think that your would be on your map near your pole of constructive and creative and goodness, and it comes through to you in the land. But I think I look at the history and I can't help but see that weird overlay of again, the way that they made it a prison, a place for prisoners to go, and that's what they tried to do with Australia. And I always saw that connection, and I know it's a weird one, but I'm just throwing it out there because I get these weird visual overlays. I'm just getting your thoughts because you're a local about your land. It's a weird one to throw it at you.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's a bit of a mixed bag, considering we are sort of at a bit of a funny point in regards to how we view our own history. And yeah, I've never been a big history buff in that sort of sense for Australia, but we definitely have mud flood buildings here and that sort of things in Adelaide. So there's
interesting.
that. Yeah, Melbourne and Adelaide have that, and Sydney. And actually, there's some guy that does that sort of mud flood research, and he sort of focuses on Sydney, and they destroyed a lot of the mud flood buildings to, put in the new bridge. And so it's interesting, how much do we actually really know about what happened? I don't know.
I think your land does have a lot of history, and it's hidden in that. And I think, I wonder, like, as Americans, I sit there and you look, and wonder how much you assume it's true the way you've been taught or not. So again, an American's understanding of Australia is simply like it was an empty landmass of some wild Aborigines, and it was used as a prison camp for the Queen. That's kind of how my understanding. Tell me other Americans. Is that?
That's pretty much it. Yeah, you
That's
summed
it.
it up. Yeah. There's your history,
think-
guys. You come
there you
over on
go.
boats, you know, for stealing a loaf of bread and, you know, you had to make your way. That's basically it. So,
I think there's more.
America served
Yeah.
that purpose for a while too. They would send criminals over this way as a form of an alternative punishment.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Hmm. I do believe that is correct.
So I was just like with the prison, it just made me think of such a large landmass and them making it like a prison camp for that. It's some beautiful land, and if you're having med flood stuff. So again, when you look at the constructive and destructive in that, I start looking at what might be histories or what might be like, again, you look at the overall plans and it being built up as a prison, you know, maybe that is a strategy to, I don't know.
maybe it was pretty much empty when they got here. I don't know. Yeah, maybe it was forgotten about to some degree.
I find that hard to believe.
Or purposely left alone. What if that was a center point of something that happened and people were purposefully avoiding it, like Hiroshima or Nagasaki, and they just said, "Well, nobody can go live there anymore." Jesus, who wants to go live in all that heat?
I know. It was like yesterday. It was I don't know, 35 degrees. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but yeah, I was making a video just like sweating the. Anyone?
What is it? Double it and add 30?
But
something like that. Add 30 and double it. Double it and add 30.
Oh yeah,
something like that.
Would be about
Approximation.
That. But it does get hot. But it's been a funny old season because it's been really cool, and it's even today. It's like I don't know what's going on. Usually we're getting, you know, we can have 2 weeks of 35 degrees or 36 degrees. So,
95 degrees Fahrenheit. Just interpreting it. Yeah, I cheated.
That's pretty hot, hey?
Yeah, that's good and warm.
Yeah. But yeah, once you have about, you know, a week of that, you're pretty well sick of it. So's your garden.
Well,
yeah, my gardens hate that stuff.
Even the story sort of implies that it was not a place that any civilized person wants to be, to the point that they sent their most uncivilized there because, well, it's as good as prison. Just go to Australia. Like a free range prison.
Yeah.
Can you hear my dog up there barking?
Yeah, I can.
Zero insulation in this fucking house. Jesus. That's shibby. Who knows what the hell he sees out there?
Yeah, I look, I don't know. I think there's probably so much more to uncover about, you know, what's happened for our past and even Australia for sure. Like it's just, I think we're at the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, Australia is huge, and there's not many people that live in the central part of Australia, are there?
Nah, too hot.
It's all, yeah, that's what I'm, and the northern part is like a jungle, isn't it? The north central part of it?
Yeah, well, up in Queensland and around there, you've got, yeah, it's pretty much like Hawaii. You know, it's tropical.
Yeah. We have a little bit of that in Florida.
And then it sort of moves down. You just basically follow on the coast because the coast is the best place to live, you know, or near the coast.
So yeah, I mean, there could be ancient cities out in the center of Australia that are still there that just haven't been found.
I think there's been pyramids. Don't quote me on it, but I have heard there is pyramids along, yeah, in Australia somewhere. So maybe not huge. I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
No.
I've already updated the description as having quoted you as saying that Lucas has just broken the story of pyramids. So should I go ahead and delete that? Yeah, that's funny because I don't update the description.
They could have, could leave it and then right at the end, I say, yeah, don't quote me on that. So just a big letdown, really.
Just ready to hit that second quotation mark.
Oh, I think you should do it. Quote Lucas. Lucas says.
Well, I guess we got to go ahead and wrap it up. I think we're getting a little bit on the goofy side. I think my lovely wife is upstairs waiting for me to rejoin the household and enjoy all the space and freedom we have now. Yay.
Right?
Yay.
Nice. Well,
Lucas, thank you so much for being able to hop in and hang out with us tonight. I really do appreciate it.
Appreciate you saving us because we were definitely floundering.
It's been great. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, man. Truly.
Yeah, always a pleasure. Always.
As we told many folks, once you're here and you've been in that door, it doesn't lock behind you. So anytime you want to just hang out, let us know. And it doesn't even have to be on the air. We do hang out on Wednesdays away from the public eye.
Nice.
In fact, all of our best stuff.
That's what I say. The best shit is on Wednesday that nobody gets to see. So, but hey, it's really good stuff, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, definitely thank you, friend. Truly. And thank you for running with some of the more speculative things. I appreciate that too.
That's good. Yeah, really good.
Well, I guess we ought to go ahead and wrap it up then. Love you guys. It's been an absolute pleasure. I do enjoy hanging out on Fridays.
Love y'all.
Thank you all. Thank you all in chat. I got a little sidetracked and wrapped up. Most of the time I can balance it, but you had me wrapped up tonight, Lucas, for sure. And everything else we all discussed. Definitely. Sorry I wasn't quite there. Some of the people there got me straight on some of the stuff I hadn't done yet for the description. I got that right. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Love you all. Come see us again Tuesday. We'll probably do some more crazy shit.
Oh, we generally do. But it is always a pleasure. There it is.
Peace out, everyone.
Love you guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Good night, all.
This was not even the music I thought I was playing. It'll work. Love you guys. Be good. Be well. See you right back here. Or, as it would have over on the Ironworks on Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com for the Ironworks every Tuesday and Friday, 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. to noon, Greenwich Mean Time. But we also broadcast it across YouTube and the other platforms as well. So hopefully we'll see you over there. It's always a pleasure. Thanks to everybody hanging out in chat. Everybody on the rebroadcast who download, listen later, all that good stuff. Love you. Be good. Be well. Bye-bye.
So if you're not getting the iron your body needs, if you feel weak, run down, and are easily upset, start taking iron today.
The iron you need to get what you want.